Good? Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Springfield City Hall and the Historic City Council Chambers. Tonight is Monday, December 8th. Time is 6:37. Tonight we have the great honor and privilege of recognizing some people from our community and community leaders and some proclamations and tributes sponsored by Councilor Brown before our regular meeting. So I'd invite Councilor Brown at this time to present his proclamation and say a few words. Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today is a joyous day for me. I've been excited. We made history a long time ago, where an individual named Stephen Sticks, a well-known, famous movie producer and actor, along with a lot of different movie superstars and artists, came down, and our hope was to bring Hollywood and certain movies and things to Springfield. And we were successful. Throughout the year, before releasing it, we've had numerous people who have passed, DJ KLS and Artie Robb, and the names can go on. So the producer, Steve Sticks, unfortunately, every time someone passed, he held back actually releasing it. So today is a joyous day, and I have the honor of giving citations to not just Steve Sticks and what he's brought, but a lot of people throughout the community who worked in bringing the arts and entertainment here, because we will one day have Hollywood movies here. That's our hope. That's our desire. So without ado, I do want to commend Steve Sticks. I'll read one quick proclamation for him in the movie. The Springfield City Council is pleased to honor and recognize Steve Sticks' production in the honor of Stay Fly movie and the soundtrack being out on all music platforms and bringing Stay Fly movie soundtracks to life all along several other feature films under Steve Sticks' production. And this is another one. This is personally for Steve Stick Josie. He's been working in the community. Our thing is to kind of bring back a performing arts center. We want to bring performing arts and the music and TV and all that to Springfield. So Steve has been helping do that. The city of Springfield and the city council is pleased to honor Stephen Sticks Josie, CEO of Sticks Production, and whereas Stephen Sticks Josie is a film and music producer, director, writer, and actor. And whereas Stephen Sticks Josie wrote, produced, directed, and starred in the movie Stay Fly, the movie was filmed in Springfield in July of 2020 during the COVID epidemic. Whereas Steve Sticks Production has been creating music films for over 32 years. The Stay Fly movie is the fourth movie along with TV shows. The American Family Dreamers and Steve Sticks Production has been filmed in Springfield over the years. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the city of Springfield hereby recognizes, honors, and celebrates Steve Sticks Josie and his impact in the music and film industry, wishing him continued success in the future endeavors. And this is from the Springfield City Council. So if I may, there's a few people who have came up to come and introduce. I want you guys to get to meet some of the people. We have famous. I want to say he's part of Made Men. He's a famous closing liner. He's very famous. So I want to at least let Steve, yield the floor to Steve and let him introduce a few people who've coming up to be honored. So I yield the floor to Steve Sticks, Josie.
Come on up, Steve. Councilor Govan?
Mic on. Thank you so much. While Steve is going to the podium, I just want to thank Councilor Brown for bringing this forward and congratulate the entire cast of Stay Fly. I remember when you guys were rehearsing and practicing, and you had so many people involved in the community, which I think that touched my heart the most because it was some of everybody. One of the ones that I'll miss, one of the most is that I miss now is Artie Robb, DJ KLS, of course, they've gone on. But my husband's in the movie too, so I just had to say that. Thank you, thank you.
Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming on. I want to thank Councilor Brown. I want to thank the city of Springfield for the opportunity to have been blessed to make like over 4 movies here, but I've made numerous movies around the world. And I'm just thankful for everybody that's in this room. And I just want to give a special honor to the people who are not here. Artie Robb, you know, rest in peace. You know, his family's here, his daughter's here, his sister's here. You know. And I want to say, you know, rest in peace to DJ KLS, you know, and that was, we've been friends since I was 15. I would come up here from Boston to play ball with him, and we did a lot of things together. And then also Don Hazel, the gentleman from Boston, and may he rest in peace, and also my sister Keisha. So, this is for her. You know, I miss her. I paused on putting the movie out for 5 years because they're not here. So October 1st, God put it on my spirit. It was the 12th year of my mom passing. And the Lord said, just go ahead and put the movie, throw it to YouTube. I didn't even give it to the distributor because I wanted everybody in this room to see what they did. They did an awesome job, and I thank each and every one of you. And I thank you all. And what I would like to do real quick is I want to give a special honor to someone who's really been a part of my life for over 30 years, and that's that gentleman right there, Mr. Twice-Down. Let's give him a round of applause. I want to present this to him, and I want to have him come up, and it says, the City of Springfield, December 8th, 2025, whereas the City of Springfield Council, Ennis Entertainment Group, and Styx Productions are pleased to recognize Marco Antonio Ennis. And Marco Antonio Ennis was an actor in the Styx Productions movie Stay Fly as an actor. And Marco Antonio Ennis is a hip-hop pioneer from Boston with the group RSO and Made Men, as well as his solo career as Twice-Style. And Marco is a legend in the music, film, and fashion world with his clothing line, Antonio and Saudi, where his clothes are in several iconic movies in Hollywood, like Shaft, Biker Boys, and so many other feature films. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of Springfield hereby recognizes and honors and celebrates Marco Antonio Ennis on his impact in the music, film, and fashion industry, wishing him continued success in all his future endeavors. If you want to come up and... Congratulations, man. This is for you, man. I love you, man.
How y'all doing? So yeah, my name's Antonio Ennis, and I'm very humbled and happy to be here in Springfield, coming up from Boston. Like Styx said, we've been working together for over 30 years in the music and fashion and the entertainment world. I have over 60 years combined with in those fields of doing what I love to do. And we're working on films now back in Boston. And I'm just humbled to be here. I'm glad to be recognized and would love to continue to work. I definitely work my part-time, well, my full-time job, this is my part-time, but my full-time job is a community organizer back in Boston. So I work closely with a housing advocacy group down here known as Springfield No One Leaves. They're responsible for keeping a lot of families in their homes. And Rose Webster over there is someone who I've been working with for the last 14 years. So I don't live in Springfield, but I know the plight of Springfield, and I love Springfield and continue to do the work down here and keep families in their homes. That's like my #1 goal, is to keep families in their homes.
And then because, you know, we don't have a lot of time, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just I'm going to open up these and I'm going to say the names of the people that are going to get the proclamations, and I'll just pass them out. Is that okay? Okay. Got you. All right. This one right here, City of Springfield City Council, in recognition, the Springfield City Council was pleased to honor and recognize Gregory Anderson for providing your talents as an actor, artist, and associate producer in the movie Stay Fly. Styx Productions thanks you for your dedication to the movie. Is that hers behind it? Let me see it. Is that India? Okay, let me just say it. Same thing with you, India. Here we go. The City of Springfield Council is pleased and honored to recognize, India Anderson. And this one is in recognition to James Michael Sama, who's not here. He's in New Hampshire, so let's give him a round of applause. This is one is in recognition of Big Man. Big Man Hollis. He's not here, though, but this is to Big Man. Thank you, brother. And this one is to a good friend of mine who's a talented brother, who's amazing artist, Mr. Joe Brown. This is for you. Thank you, brother. God bless you. God bless you. Yes, sir. And this one right here is in recognition of James G, but he's not here, but I'll get it. I'll make sure I get it to him. So James was the lead actor in that. This one's in recognition of Vanessa Turner, so I'll probably give this to Twice Style so he can bring it back to Boston. She's in Boston. This one's in recognition of Tony Lopes. I'm gonna do the same thing for Twice Style. I'll put it to the side. And this one is in recognition to a dear friend of mine for over 30-something years. We've done a lot of music together, Mr. Thomas Johnson.
Springfield in the house, baby. Make these movies.
Man. This one's in honor of Rasan Jacobs. He had level 5, so I'm going to put this one to the side. I spoke to him today, so let's give him an honor. Yes. And this one's to Mr. Phil Govin. I love you, brother. This is Govin. This is my brother right here. I love you, man. Yes. This brother, right? This the man that taught me how to play the bass right here. And this one's in honor of Nicole Hoops Alexander. So let's give her a round of applause. We have Hoops down. Send this down to her. This is an honor to a dear friend of mine, Mr. Nick Provost. Here you go, brother. All right. This one's in honor of Michael Lau. He's out in Colorado, so we'll put this one to the side for him. Yes. And this one's in honor of a good person that I know, my son, Stephen Lucas. You want to take a picture? Go ahead. He just wants to take a picture. Thank you. Yes. And this one's in recognition of my cousin, Sharon Fowler, a.k.a. Big Riz. He's in New York, but I'll put this one to get that to him, so let's give him a round of applause. This one's in recognition of, I just want to say the Springfield City Council is pleased to recognize, posthumously honor and recognize Artie Robinson, a son, brother, and a friend to the community. A talented actor who starred in the Styx Productions film Stay Fly. May you rest in peace. Styx Productions will forever keep your name alive. Thank you for your stardom and impact to the Stay Fly movie. This goes to us all. This one's in honor of Latamra Smith, so I'm going to put this one to the side for Mr. Twice Down. Latamra's from the movie Blue Hills, so she did a great job. This one's is in honor of my sister, Keisha, so I'm just going to put this one to the side. This one is in honor of DJ KLS. I don't know if his family's here. Yes, sir. This one's in honor of my niece, Kalia. So she's at work, but I'm going to put this to the side because Keisha was her mom. So this one's in honor of Josh DeForge. He's not here. He's out in, I forgot what town he's in, but I'll get this to him. Thank you. This one's in honor of Don Hazel. I'm going to get this one. May he rest in peace. This one's in honor of Darius Miles Johnson, but I'm going to give it to my nephew, Stephen, for him. So here you go. Thank you, brother. This one's in honor of my nephew, Darnell Jones, but he's not here, but I'm going to put this to the side. All right. And this one's in recognition of my sister, one of my best friends at times. She's a triple platinum music artist, and I just want to read this one. The City of Springfield is pleased to recognize Corentina Moraine Mems for providing your talents as an artist on the soundtrack Stay Fly movie 6 Productions. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
All right. You're welcome. No problem. All right. And this one right here is in honor of one of my dear friends. The first person that I did a record with was this man right here, Clarence Jones. Man, I love you, brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And this last but not least, this was the one for Sticks Productions. Thank you.
Councilor Brown?
So, I just once again want to thank Steve. I want to thank the constituents and the members that did the actual Stay Fly movie. I didn't know that Councilor Govon's husband was in it. She's like, yeah. But it's an honor. You guys have done a great job, and if we can, I'd like to maybe get a picture.
Please, before we do though, let's see if there's any other councilors that'd like to make a comment. Councilor Delgado?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, one, congratulations to Mr. Sticks. I do recall maybe like 10 years ago, you did another movie like Who's on My Side? See, I remember, I remember this, all the fanfare, reading about it on Republican Mass Live. I never got the opportunity to meet you, but thank you for continuing to come out to the city of Springfield. I love the Boston and Springfield connection. There's so much similarities between both cities. I've had the opportunity to work in the Boston area with jobs as Councilor Brown, and so there are a lot of similarities. So the fact that you're bringing those together and the talent between Boston, definitely know we got talent in Springfield. It doesn't always get highlighted, so just thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you to everybody who's working on this, and shout out to my classmate Steven in the back. What's up, bro? No, I just want to say congratulations and thank you to Councilor Brown for bringing this up. And I heard that you said this was on YouTube, so I'm actually going to be able to get to see it. So perfect, even better to see Mr. Govon up in there. I'm gonna see what you got. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Delgado. So unless there's any other councilors, Councilor Walsh?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I would just like to say I am so impressed with how much talent there is in the city of Springfield. And I want to congratulate Councilor Brown for bringing this to our attention, that there are so many people who are invested in the arts and that are performers. And I definitely think that Springfield should become the Hollywood of the East. And I hope that I'm in the next movie. I want to thank my friend Stephen for bringing all of this together and doing such a good job. But I mean, you are to be congratulated. It's not an easy field to be successful in, and to have so many people here in our chambers who have been successful. It's really very, very impressive. Good luck in what you continue to do.
Thank you. So on behalf of Councilor Brown and all the council, we'd invite you and your guests to come forward, and we'd love to take a picture with you up here right beyond the dais. Okay, that'll conclude our proclamations portion of the evening. Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining us today at Springfield City Hall. We're just wrapping up our proclamations from this evening, and we're about to start our hearings meeting this evening. Okay, good evening, everybody. We're going to call this meeting to order. The time is 7:03. Today is Monday, December 8th. We have a hearings meeting scheduled for this evening. Madam Clerk, will you please start by calling the roll?
Counselor Curran. Absent Counselor Allen.
Present.
Present Counselor Govan.
Present.
Present Counselor Walsh.
Present.
Present Counselor Edwards.
Present.
Present Counselor Davila.
Present.
Present Counselor Brown. Present Counselor Whitfield. Present Counselor Delgado.
Present.
Present Counselor Santinello.
Present.
Present Counselor Click Bruce.
Present.
Present Counselor Perez. Counselor Perez. Absent Counselor Fenton.
Present.
Present.
Okay. Council and our guests, if you please rise for a moment of silence. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Madam Clerk, before we call the first item, I want to acknowledge and recognize two longtime members of this council for joining us tonight. Thank you, former Council President James Ferreira for being here, as well as former City Council President Dan Kelly. Thank you for joining us. Okay, Madam Clerk, can we please start with item number 1?
Item 1 is amending Ordinance 275, Chapter 4. This is on for second and final steps.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of this item? This item was put on by the Law Department, Madam Clerk, at our last meeting. What was the subject of this item? Oh, this is the synthetic ordinance. Counselor, so what I did was, you'll notice that there's some ordinances on this agenda, which isn't typical for our hearings meetings. I asked to put them on for this meeting because I was trying to limit the amount of things we'd have to do on the last meeting of the year. So it's possible that the solicitor's office wasn't notified that these were on for second and final steps. I didn't do that. I suppose I should have. So if the council feels that they would like to act and take final step on any of these items, we can. But in the alternative, in the absence of the Law Department, anybody else here to speak on it, we could also entertain a motion to continue to the last meeting. Councilor Brown?
Would it be possible to get a brief overview of what each individual was? You kind of know what it is. If we can get a brief overview, then maybe it would help with the decision of what it is.
Thank you. Normally, it'd be the Law Department that would give that overview. That's why I'm a little caught for a second. Mr. Wilson, are you offering to help? Attorney Wilson? You got to put your microphone on. We got new tech since you came last. Yeah.
Anthony Wilson, 54 Weston Street, Waltham, Massachusetts. I'm here representing a consortium of cannabis operators here in the city of Springfield, including Zaza Green, Liberty, Six Bricks, Primus, and INSA. Regarding particularly these general ordinances, the only one that I'm interested in speaking on tonight is the 245-7A regarding the permits being issued prior to the annual permits being issued by the health department, a statement that the operators are up to date on their taxes as well as their state and local taxes. So this group is in favor of that. That's sort of being a good neighbor here to the city of Springfield, ensuring that they are operating responsibly. So of these three ordinances, that's the one that I'm here to speak on in favor.
Which one is that, Anthony?
So that is 245-7A16 on your agenda. It's
number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So, councilors, thank you, Attorney Wilson. So the first item on the agenda that's on for second and potentially final step, we passed first step at the last meeting, and this is an ordinance prohibiting the manufacture and sale and distribution of THC and synthetic THC products. That's what it was. So we can either take final step or we can continue it. Councilor Brown?
I do recall this. I want to say this is something that the commissioner is here. I believe she, do you know? It's about the synthetic. It's about the synthetic. If maybe we could, if I can yield the floor maybe to the commissioner, if maybe she, because it's something just still addressing the synthetic cells.
Can you help us, Commissioner?
Commissioner, Division of Health and Human Services, City of Springfield, 47 Overlook Drive in Springfield. Yes, this is a continuation of the synthetic cannabis ordinance. Some of the language has been changed since I've seen it last, but it's my understanding that this is consistent with what you've passed in first step. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the solicitor told us at the last meeting that this was updated to reflect changes happening on a state level. Anybody else? Any other counselors? Counselor Whitfield?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think only Section 4, like Roman numeral 4, is changing. from what we had before.
Can't really speak to that. I'm not sure. Phil?
Well, I'm just going to say, Article 4 is the zoning ordinance, so these top ones were changes to the city ordinance. There's another proposal for amending Article 4 with regards to adult use and medical,
Yeah.
but that's the zoning ordinance, so I don't know what the other ones are up top.
Oh, that one did change or not?
Well, one of the items on tonight is to amend Article 4. There's 2 or 3 proposed changes to that, to the zoning ordinance. The top 3 are actually to the city ordinance, which is a different.
Okay.
Councillor Davila, or Councillor Whitfield, are you done?
Yes.
Councillor Davila?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just for clarity's sake and that we're all on the same page, maybe I'm reading this wrong, Mr. President, but Article 275, the first item, 275, Article 4, it says that it's prohibiting the manufacture, sale, and distribution of THC and synthetic THC products.
That's correct.
Then item number 3, sir, chapter 275, Article 5, talks about kratom.
That's a different proposal.
So, no, I understand that, but it will be under the same chapter,
Correct.
so that wouldn't be reflecting the changes that the solicitor made reference to.
The changes in item number 1 were presented by the Law Department at the last meeting for
Correct.
synthetics.
Yep.
And the changes under item number 3 are presented by Councilor Curran, which we'll take up
Hopefully.
later, which are different products that he's seeking to propose that we ban, which we have not heard before. Item number 3 is an item we have not heard before.
Got you, okay. Okay, thank you for the clarity.
Okay? So does anybody, Councilor Govan?
I was just going to say that I think we discussed this First Amendment at length last time, and I think most of us were in agreement that it should pass, so I think we could probably take a vote in the affirmative.
Okay, thank you. Any other councilors? Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on second and final step.
On second and final steps, Councilor Curran.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Santinello.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Perez. Absent. Councilor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. Ordinance is ordained. Okay, item number 2, Madam Clerk.
Item 2 is amending ordinance, Chapter 245, Article 2, second and final steps as well.
Okay, so we just heard from Attorney Wilson what this matter is. We did take first step on this at our last meeting. And are there any discussion or deliberation or question on it? Okay. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On approval, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Santinello.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Perez. Absent. Councilor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. Ordinance is ordained. Item number 3.
Item 3 is amending ordinance Chapter 275, Article 5. This is on for first steps.
Councilor Curran.
Thank you, Mr. President. This article here, this ordinance amending Chapter 275, would ban the sale of the drug kratom, which is also known by its nickname gas station heroin, as it has some effects. The synthetic side of it, and it's been marketed to youth. We had a hearing on it at the Health and Human Services Committee. We'd be the 6th community in Massachusetts to ban this. Lowell has already banned it. Chelmsford, Draycote, North Attleboro, Belchertown, 7 states across the United States, including Rhode Island and Vermont, have banned it primarily as it's being marketed to 12, 13, 14-year-old children, and it's mimics the effects of heroin and is seen by many as a gateway drug to heroin, and which is now currently being showing up in toxicology reports to many overdose deaths, not only here in Western Massachusetts, but across the state. So,
Thank you, Councilor Curran. Any councilors? Councilor Govan?
I'm certainly in agreement with this ordinance and this amendment. I've gotten a lot of emails from a lot of constituents who have had experience with their children dying from overdosing off of this. So I think this is something that we as a city should do. I know that the state, I believe, is working on something, but I think we should lead the way in making sure that we protect our constituents. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Govan. Councilor Brown?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Councilor Curran for taking on this charge. There's a lot of different products that are sold in our city, and I'm glad to see that my colleague has brought up the fight for this particular one. I know there is still another one that's called Graba, where kids and everyone smokes it. They take tobacco and they cure it in bleach. It's something that's famous. Everybody smokes it. They lace it in marijuana. You can get it right at the store. So these are things that we're fighting. So I commend Councilor Curran for taking on this fight. There's a lot of things people really aren't aware of. So thank you, Councilor Curran.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Councilor Davila?
Thank you, Mr. President. I also would like to join my colleague in congratulating Councilor Curran for bringing this forward. I think this is, in my opinion, Councilor, one of the most important pieces of legislation that we have passed this year. It is indeed, sir, going to save lives. And I thank you for bringing this to the forefront and for doing research and bringing this to our attention. Sleep well tonight knowing that you indeed have saved lives. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. Councilor Walsh?
Thank you, Mr. President, and I also want to thank Councilor Curran for bringing this to our attention and for getting it passed so quickly. My question is, how is this going to be regulated? How are we actually going to get rid of it? How's it going to be handled?
on the city level or in the state level, I think this on the state level, they are talking about a statewide ban. But obviously tonight's ordinance is, we're not there yet on the state level. So, if your house is on fire, put out the fire. So that's the purpose of tonight's ordinance. Health and Human Services, obviously we propose legislation. It's their job to implement it. This is going to be a challenge for Health and Human Services, as this is yet another synthetic that has been pushed upon the school children here in the city of Springfield. But we currently have individual city employee whose job is to go into gas stations and convenience stores to regulate and investigate synthetic cannabis. And my guess is that role will expand, and perhaps now that we're asking Health and Human Services to take on this additional responsibility, perhaps Kathy Bono and our CAFO will look at maybe expanding that department. Gas stations and convenience stores here in the city of Springfield are unfortunately becoming pharmacies, so to speak. And, we're going to need to support Health and Human Services as their role expands in regulating them. But, if you're selling Kratom, I don't think you should be selling gasoline. So, again, the implementation is going to be new. There might be some hurdles. There might be some roadblocks. But I think I have every confidence in Commissioner Harris to be able to implement what we pass here tonight.
One last question. What brought this to your attention?
The Republican had an investigative article one Sunday, and the Republican editorial board came out and asked for it to be banned. And after I researched it and got in contact with the head of the UConn School of Pharmacy, he's making it his national mission to ban this drug. And he was kind enough to join the Springfield City Council, and he was very eloquent and intelligent and articulate in his advocacy in banning this and his belief that this is ushering in the fourth wave of opioid overdoses, and that the last time when heroin came along to Western Massachusetts, we were kind of caught flat-footed, but this time we're going to be ahead of the curve.
Well, thank you for doing that. I definitely will support it.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh. Any other councilors? Okay, seeing none. Okay, I think that's all. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll for first step.
On first step, Councilor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes, and great job.
Yes, Councilor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Santinello.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yeah.
Yes, Councilor Perez absent. Councilor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. First step is approved. We'll have that on for second step at the next meeting. Okay, Madam Clerk. Before we get to the special permits, we do have one more marijuana-related item, and since we're on the subject, unless there's any objections, maybe we can hear that item at this time that Phil was talking about earlier. Item number 7. Are there any objections to that? Okay, Madam Clerk.
Item 7 is amending Article 4, marijuana dispensaries.
Hi, Phil.
Good evening. I wasn't expecting to be up here this quick. Phil Dromey, Deputy Director of Planning for the Office of Planning and Economic Development. I'm here tonight to present, there's actually 3 proposed amendments to the Springfield zoning ordinance, all relating to both adult marijuana establishment uses and excuse me, and medical marijuana uses. I'm going to start with the first one that was directed by the Springfield Law Department, and this is an amendment to Article 4, Section 4.7.114, which is the adult use marijuana establishment, and the change is how an adult use establishment is measured from a school. This was a change that was actually made at the state level, so our current zoning is in conflict with that. Currently, our ordinance states that a school is the way you measure a distance. An adult use establishment has to be outside of 500 feet of a school. And the way it's currently measured under our ordinance is it's from property line to property line.
Phil, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do you have somewhat of a list of changes that you're proposing to the council tonight for marijuana?
Yep.
Councilors, I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have taken this one out of order. We've got other petitioners tonight, and this will probably take some time. So rather than prejudice them and, have this go on a little bit longer, could we have a motion maybe to continue this to the end of the meeting, and then we can get to those petitioners?
Motion made.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Edwards, seconded by Councilor Allen. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion. Sorry, Phil. I thought you were going to be quick. That doesn't sound quick. Councilor Davila?
Yeah, Mr. President, I was wondering if Phil has a list of proposed changes, maybe he can circulate it now.
I'll ask the staff to circulate that. Yes. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on continuing this to the end of the meeting.
On the motion to continue, Councilor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan. Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Santinello. Councilor Santinello. Away, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yeah.
Yes, Councilor Perez absent. Councilor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. Continued to the end of the meeting. Okay, now, sorry about that. Item number 4, Madam Clerk.
Item 4 is 927 Boston Road, a special permit for the east side of Phillip Street to amend an existing special permit.
Okay, good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for coming tonight. This is going to be a hearing of the Springfield City Council conducted in accordance with Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts Zoning Act and the rules and orders of the City Council. So you get 20 minutes to present your case. You don't need to use all of that time. After we've heard from you, we'll offer the opponents, if there are any, a chance to be heard, and if there is a need, we have an opportunity for a 10-minute rebuttal period for each side. So we'd invite you to come forward, state your name and address, and tell us a little bit about the permit that you're seeking tonight. And before you do that, you have to turn your microphone on. There's a little button at the bottom right of your device there. Thank you.
My name is Usman Sheikh. I am the current owner of this 927 Boston Road. And so I've been there for 9 years, operating as a used car dealer and auto repair shop. And we have Eric Castillo, so we're here to amend the special permit to add Eric on there. As he will be running the day-to-day business, we'll be still keeping all the same conditions that were on the original permit. I will still be helping him with overseeing, but he will be the one doing all the day-to-day operations there.
Thank you very much. Okay, is anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application? Say again, anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application in person or online? Seeing none, that closes this portion of the hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition in person or online? Officer, could you open that door? We just can't leave it closed during the hearing. Thank you. Okay, seeing none, that closes this portion of the hearing. Any questions from the council for the petitioner? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, well, let's close the hearing. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on approval of the special permit.
On approval of the special permit, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Santinello.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce. Councilor Click Bruce. Away, Councilor Perez. Absent, Councilor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. Councilor Curran on the reasons.
The specific site is an appropriate location for such a use, structure, or condition. The use as developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood. Adequate and appropriate facilities will be provided for the proper operation of the proposed use, and planning staff will incorporate analysis into the decision at the basis of the findings.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the reasons.
On approval of the reasons, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Santinello.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes. And just please
Yes,
add me
Councilor
to
Perez.
say yes, please as well.
Absent, Councilor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. Special permit is approved. Congratulations. You can pick it up from the city clerk. There's a 20-day appeal period, then you can pick it up. Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, item number 5, please.
Item 5 is a zone change to change the zoning of a portion of the property known as 390-392 Allen Street.
Okay, if the petitioners would please step forward. Good evening, Attorney Kelly. We'd invite you to tell us a little bit about your zone change petition here, and please start with your name and address.
Oman. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. Daniel Kelly. My legal address for my office is 33 Mulberry Street in Springfield. I'm joined here, and they'll give their addresses in a second, with the owners of the package store, John Sullivan, Joseph Sullivan, and Christian Leeds. I'm here also with their real estate broker, Anthony Ardolino. So this is a project where they're proposing to take the existing package store that is on Allen Street and move that liquor license to another parcel, which would be the strip mall that currently houses Nathan Bill's, one of the places inside of that strip mall. They also are part owners of that strip mall. At the existing place where the liquor store currently is, the proposal is to change the liquor store into a residential use. They would be 4 single bedroom units inside of that package store building that's right there. There would be a little more construction on the second floor in order to do that. You'll see on the far left-hand side a rendering of a townhouse-style apartments. The proposal in the parking lot, and in between, just to the right of that rendering, you'll see kind of the bird's eye view, the rendering, the architectural renderings from the bird's eye view, is 6 townhouses, each housing 3 bedroom units. Now, There are some moving parts to this. Even if you were to approve this change tonight, they would still need a variance from the ZBA and more than likely need to come back here in front of you for final approval on a special permit because of the number of housing units. The reason why we say there's a number of moving parts is because that architectural rendering is what we expect the process to look like at the end. But as the Sullivans and Mr. Leeds have been known to do, they are constantly meeting with members of the East Forest Park Civic Association, members of the East Forest Park neighborhood, and taking citizen input and kind of baking it into their proposal. So that may be somewhat altered based upon some of the issues that the neighborhood raises. In addition to that, as you probably are aware, there are train tracks behind there. They currently have a lease proposal with the federal government to try to lease some area there. That would then be paved over and would give them more parking and more room there. So it may change the contours of the parcel as well. The federal government is not as agile as Mr. President and our planning department here. It's not like we can just simply call up the Mr. Dromey of the federal government. I wish we could, and he would be as responsive, but that's not the way it works, as I'm sure you know, when dealing with the federal government. So that's an ongoing process. So that's why I say that that's what we expect it to look like. We're hopeful, however, that our talks with the federal government will go well and the parking lot footprint will be expanded a little more and give it some expansion. This has been something that has been in front of the East Forest Park Neighborhood Council. They are supportive of it. This is something that has been in front of the planning board. They voted unanimously in front of it. And so this is the next step in a multi-step process. In addition to that, obviously, they'll have to file a transfer with your license commission, and that would have to be ratified by the ABCC. So this is the second of at least 5 or 6 steps. But this is the first time that we're here, and we're hopeful that you'll look positively upon this proposal. This proposal is something that came as the Sullivans and Mr. Leeds do, listening and speaking with the neighborhood. You know, the best-run package store still is a package store, right? It's still a liquor store that cashes checks and has traffic all the time. That's not necessarily conducive to a neighborhood. This is a package store that if you were to propose to stick that there now would be roundly rejected, and rightfully so. It's kind of wedged into the edge of a neighborhood, as I'm sure you know. There are a lot of abutting residential neighbors. They've listened to those concerns, and this is the outgrowth of that. If the Sullivans and Mr. Leeds are known for anything, and they're known for a lot, running great businesses, but also listening and immersing themselves in the community. This is the outgrowth of that process. So I'll turn it over to the Sullivans, but that's kind of the overview, and I hope that you'll have the opportunity to review these plans and look favorably upon our application. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Attorney Kelly.
Joe Sullivan, 303 Wilbraham Road, Hamden. I mean, Danny summed it up pretty well. I don't know if there's any questions. The plan is going to evolve from here, like he said. We're going to have to go forward to the building department and define the plan more firmly, and we're going to have to work with the neighborhood, and we're going to be here at least one more time, if not more than that. So it's the zone change is the most important first step, and that'll lead us into moving the package store to the plaza and kind of start the process for us. So this is an important first step for us, but this isn't, like, that's not a final plan. We don't have to decide that that's the final plan. Like I said, like Danny said, neighborhood input is going to go with that. Building department's going to be involved with that. Zoning's going to be involved with that. And that'll all be, to maximize the best use of the property that's within reason of the law, or whatever we can make fit with the law. So these are good renderings, but they're not final. But, the point is we're doing 10 units. That's what we're shooting for. The tax revenue is a big deal. So right now we're operating on it's about a $200,000 assessment of the property we're in now, and we're going to go about 10 times that. I mean, we're going to be into the 2 millions of residential property value, so we are adding some revenue. I don't know. I think that's a good summary. I think Danny kind of summed it up pretty well.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Attorney Kelly, is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition tonight? Say again, anyone wishing to speak in favor in person or online? Seeing none, that closes this portion of the meeting. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition in person or online? Say again, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that closes this portion of the hearing. Any questions from the council for the applicant? Councilor Brown?
I don't so much have a question. It's more of a statement. I want to commend you guys for all the work that you've done in the community. And I went to Cathedral right up near the area, and they're 100% correct. It's a well-known package store, but if you go near it, there's a lot of residential houses. And where they're proposing to put it now, I believe it fits. We need housing. I commend bringing the housing. The only issue I have is before you get it built, it's going to be filled up. So it's like people will come to us all the time and say, can we find apartments? Can we find, it's impossible, especially with people. Are you guys going to allow people to maybe come in sometimes who don't make 3 times the income and have the credit score? You know, sometimes when you have some of those local guys, they're more lax on providing apartments and homes. So I commend you. It's something we definitely need. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Councilor Delgado, then Councilor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to commend this project. I do think that, as Councilor Brown mentioned, the fact that you're moving the liquor store to the plaza just makes sense. The other thing that I wanted to check, I know you said that this is a zone change and that you'll be coming back and that plans may change, but the plan is still going to be condominiums.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I want to highlight that fact because in a lot of the developments that we've seen over at least my last 2 years on the council, a lot of them have been around apartments, which we need apartments, but the fact that you're developing housing ownership, I think is something I'd love to highlight, especially condos. I haven't seen too many condos coming before us in the last 2 years. So I just want to say kudos to you guys for the work that you're doing. I know this is going to be, you're going to do a great job. You've done a great job with all your other businesses and endeavors. And so it's just another added piece of neighborhood. And the fact that you've been such constant conversations with the neighborhood and to have that on board is great. So, you know, I'm going to vote in favor of it. But again, just want to highlight the fact that that we're talking about condominiums here. This is more opportunities for home ownership as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Delgado. Councilor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hey, guys. So they're my friends, and you really do great work throughout the city of Springfield, like really unsung heroes. You don't brag, you don't boast. You get back to the community a lot. I didn't know this before, but we have gotten to know each other, and I think this is a great development. I thank you, Joe, for even letting me call you for advice on developments, since you've been doing it for over 30 years or about 30 years. 25. And I was going to ask if they were for sale or rent. So sale, okay. And yeah, I think it just makes sense to move the package store up out of there and over to a location that is better fit for it. So I just want to say great job. I'm going to be voting in favor of this, and just keep up the great work. You all are stellar with all of your businesses. I think I've been to all except the package, the liquor store, and it's always just great to visit any of your locations. So I know this won't be any different. So I'll be supporting as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Councilor Curran.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to the petitioners, these are, again, 1, 2, or 3 bedroom condominiums, and what's the rough square footage of these units?
So we don't actually have a construction plan yet. So we did the site plan, which was more for planning and zoning, and a rendering. But we know we want to put 3-bedroom townhouses. I'm guessing that's around the 1,000 square foot range. I can't imagine it's any less than the standard ranch is about what, 960. So somewhere around that range, I think, to make that work. And then the individual units, the 1-bedroom units, I'm going to guesstimate they're about 600 a square foot each unit. But again, I mean, we'll meet whatever the minimum guidelines are within the applicable law. We won't, we'll make sure we follow the guidelines and make them better. We want them nice, and we want to be able to sell. We want marketability is important, saleability is important.
Just to make a comment and follow up on the petitioner's point. The last 3 petitioners, the petitioner before us tonight, the petitioner, Pat Goslick, last week on Columbus Avenue, the old Howard Johnson, and the petitioner in Indian Orchard. They're committed to building new property with square footage that exceed 500 square feet. So I do think this council's efforts in making that an issue, that it's not just new housing, but that it's quality housing, is really being heard in the development community. So I commend the petitioners here tonight for making units that are past 450 square feet and 500 square feet. I think that adds something to the citizens of Springfield.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Curran. Okay, any other questions from the council for the applicant? Councilor Allen?
I don't have a question. I just want to make a comment, as the others did. I've had an interesting history with these guys because I was elected in 2009, took office in 2010, and these guys opened the business. I mean, the tornado happened immediately, and these guys took over the business of Nathan Bills and started like in 2013. So their entire time that they've been in business in these businesses, I've been the counselor that has worked with them, et cetera. And I can't say enough for how these guys operate. You all mentioned the, the community outreach and things like that. Nobody mentioned the social responsibility. I've had them speak in my class, and the amount of social responsibility these guys, and within the next week or the past week and the next couple of weeks, they will support the Damore Center for Cancer Care at like $35,000. Toys for Tots tomorrow. Their Toys for Tots event is tomorrow for probably 10 grand. Soldier On, they just had an event for Soldier On, and there's probably another one. It's mind-boggling how supportive they are of Ward 7, of the city of Springfield, et cetera. And it's just a pleasure to work with them, to work with people who care as much about the city as they do about the neighborhood and the city, as they do about their own financial progress, et cetera. It is just fabulous. They kind of get it. I teach business ethics, and one of the things in business ethics is social responsibility. You guys all see Jerry Rome or Gary Rome on TV. He's always doing projects that are socially responsible, where the community benefits like the business benefits. And these guys are in that league. They're terrific. Most of Ward 7 is Residence A, all single family. And there's a few spots where there's two families here or there. But to think about changing making a zone change from A to C is something that has not really ever been brought up during my time. And I've been, there for 16 years with them. So to have them come with this thoughtful, caring plan at a time when we need housing and we need places for people who are young and moving into, their permanent housing of some sort, to have them offer this is, I can't say enough for what these guys, they're role models for the city in terms of how they interact with the community. And if you have people in your ward, like, Victor, I know you have the Howard Johnson's thing coming up. I know there's something with Temple Bethel. There's some housing potentially at Temple Bethel. These are the guys to talk to about how to work with the community, care about their city, and still have substantial financial success. So it's been a pleasure to work with them, and I tip my hat to how you go about your business and how much you care about the people and the communities you're serving. So I'm full support of this, and couldn't say any more about them, any more positive than I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Any other councilors? Councilor Davila?
Somebody's open, Mr. President. Somebody's mic's open. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Mr. President. Before I ask a question, I just want to also join my colleagues in saying, congratulating Ms. Sullivan for putting this project forward. It's not only, in my opinion, visionary, business savvy, but as my colleague has said before, gentlemen, you are also helping with not only the ownership, with home ownership here in the city of Springfield. We all know, as my colleague has said, that we here in the city of Springfield, home prices are skyrocketing. And I just want to highlight the fact that condominiums allows people to move in at a slightly lower price and still call that your home. because it is your home. I myself, I live at a condo, and I'm very grateful that I live in a condominium with my lovely wife and my dog Rocky. And so I thank you for doing that, because not only does it make sense, gentlemen, but also you also helping home ownership here in the city of Springfield. My question to you, gentlemen, is if you could roughly tell, when can we expect the shovel on the ground, roughly?
Very complicated question. Just due to the nature of how many meetings that we have to get through. I mean, in an ideal world, we're breaking ground, February, March-ish. We have to move the package store first, so we have to do some construction in the plaza for that. That requires an approval from the Liquor Commission. Yeah, at least three, I guess, Danny, three.
ABCC is also not as nimble as your license commission, so that process itself could take several months. And we couldn't file the petition to move the package store unless and until your body moved this project forward. So the next step would be to file a license board and kind of move forward. And those now will begin a simultaneous track. We'll be working with the planning department, the building department, and the license commission to get the package store moved. I got you.
Know that we have a lot of lack of package stores, but are people going to be able to get the cold beverages in time, or?
We got some in the truck.
But anyways, gentlemen, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. I thank you for putting this forward, and again, my compliments, because I think you guys are being truly visionaries. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I, like my colleagues, want to compliment you on everything that you've done in the community. I think you're great corporate citizens, and everybody has mentioned your community service, and the Toys for Tots, I believe, is tomorrow, and people can still participate in that. But, you've done everything right. When I first heard about this, I thought that this would be an issue to have this kind of housing on Allen Street. But you got the support of the Planning Board, East Forest Park Civic Association, and everyone else involved, and the neighbors. And I am just amazed from my time on the council that a project like this has no opposition. When I first heard about it, I thought maybe there would be more opposition, but there isn't, because you've done everything right on this, and you are so well thought of in the community. And I would have to say that it would take an awful lot for me to vote against a Gold Star family. So I'm 100% for your project.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh. Any other councilors? Okay. Seeing none, that'll close the public hearing. Any final deliberations before we take a vote on this zone change? Madam Clerk, please call the roll on approval of the zone change.
On approval, Councilor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Santinello. Councilor Santinello. Away, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Perez, absent. Councilor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. Zone change is approved. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, item number 6, Madam Clerk.
Item 6 is zone change as well, to change the zoning of properties known as Southside Boston Road and rear Boston Road from Residence A to Business A.
Good evening, Mr. Ferreira.
Good evening, Mr. President, councilors. Before you this evening is a consideration for Mr. Patel. My name is Jim Ferreira. I reside at 33 Palmyra Street in Springfield. And before you this evening is a simple zone change request from Residence A to Residence B, the south side of Boston Road, rear Boston Road. These individuals who own 469, 477 Boston Road have been operating it for several years. They have worked with the planning department, the Pine Point Citizens Council, the planning board, and the abutters, numerous abutters on the Lamont Street neighborhood area, and they've all have unanimous support across all spectrums of those organizations and boards. And so before you this evening, we're asking for a zone change from Residence A to Business A.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrara. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition this evening? Say again, anyone wishing to speak in favor of this petition this evening? In person or online? Seeing none, that closes this portion of the hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition this evening? In person or online? Say again, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that closes this portion of the hearing. Any comments or questions from the council for the applicant? Okay, none? Councilor Govan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Jimmy, have they been before any of the neighborhood councils?
Yes, the Pine Point Citizens Council, they were there last month, and they have their letter of support that was sent to the council.
Okay. I think I saw that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Govan. Any other councilors? Okay, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yeah, Council President, thank you. I'm in support of this. There are definitely a good neighbor in the community, and like Jimmy said, they got this letter of support from the Pine Point Council. So I'm looking to support this as well.
Thank you, Councilor Click Bruce. Any other councilors before we close the public hearing? Seeing none, that'll close this public hearing. Any final deliberations before we vote on the zone change? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on approval.
On approval, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Santinello. Away, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Perez. Absent, Councilor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. Zone change is approved. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you very much. Okay, Madam Clerk, back to the last item. Thank you, Phil, for your indulgence earlier. Madam Clerk, item number 7.
Item 7 is amending Article 4, marijuana dispensaries.
All right, Phil, what do you got?
Okay. As I was mentioning, this is actually 3 amendments to the existing zoning ordinance. I wanted to start with the first amendment, which was to Article 4, Section 4.7.114, A2. And again, as I mentioned, this is specifically around how schools are measured for an adult use establishment. As currently, our ordinance states that the distance shall be measured in a straight line from the nearest point of the property line in question to the nearest point, excuse me, of the property line of the adult use marijuana establishment. A little while ago, the state actually made a change to how that measurement is completed. So I'm just going to read you what the proposed language is now. So instead of going from property line to property line, the distance shall be measured in accordance with 935 CMR 500.110, paragraph 3, using a straight line from the geographic center of the adult use marijuana establishment to the geographic center of the nearest school entrance, unless there is an impassable barrier within those 500 feet. In those cases, the distance shall be measured along the center of the shortest publicly accessible pedestrian travel path from the geographic center of the adult use marijuana establishment entrance to the geographic center of the nearest school entrance. So it does change measurements. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but property line from property line, schools can be on pretty large properties, so it has impacted where adult use establishments have wanted to locate. So this would allow a little more flexibility. Again, the main reason behind this is it was a change to the adult use establishment guidelines at the state level. The second proposed change. I'm sorry.
I think because of the nature of this hearing, we'll probably have questions throughout, if that's okay,
Sure.
Phil, because there's going to be a lot here. Councilor Whitfield?
Thank you, Mr. President. Does it affect any marijuana establishments that's already established right now?
The only one that comes to mind is the one on Boston Road, the one at the old Russells. I don't know the name. I think it's Ember. They actually, when they were proposing, cut off a piece of their property through an A&R process to get the building outside of the 500-foot distance. So going now from an entrance to entrance, that would probably allow them. I've heard they've wanted to come back in, and I guess they're pretty busy there, so I've heard that they want to come in and expand their parking.
Yeah.
This would technically allow them to do that, because now where they were proposing the parking would have been within the 500 feet if it's property line to property line. Now I don't believe it would, although I'd have to verify. I haven't looked at it, but that's the only one I can think of. There were other proposals that when the RFP first went out that I think knocked some people out, but I don't think, off the top of my head, I don't believe there's any other existing uses that would trigger this.
Thank you.
Councilor Edwards.
Okay. I believe that the existing cannabis dispensaries all qualified to open based on what was already placed. Now we're talking about a change that will only impact one entity. And can anybody give me or suggest to me how making the facility closer to a school or church would actually be beneficial to the community? I can see where it would be all beneficial to the business owner. I know and have heard long before I even heard about this proposal, there was complaints about the operation of Ember and this establishment. And one of the complaints was that when we were designing the places where these dispensaries could operate, we were operating in a vacuum because it was a new industry and we didn't know how it was going to operate. We now know, since we've put those rules and regulations why they can only be in certain places, they've been operating better than liquor stores. We have not heard a lot of complaints of people sitting in parking lots of the dispensaries and enjoying the product. But I have heard these complaints about this one particular business. My understanding is that as you kind of alluded to, that they may want to come and extend the size of their parking lot. One of the problems that I understood it to be is that if the people were going there to buy their product and then moving on to go and enjoy it off-site, they wouldn't need to expand their parking lot. But one of the problems is they are operating typically like some of the local, less respected liquor stores where people are buying product and then going out and sitting in the bars in the parking lot and enjoying them. Now, there's also conversations on a state level for on-site social consumption. So I don't know what that's going to look like in the future, but the existing cannabis dispensaries that have been operating in the city, across the city, I haven't heard any complaints about any of their operations and the mechanisms that they have in place for their operations, like I have for the one who would be coming back to ask to take advantage of this change. So I know when we pass special permits, the last thing we do is vote in the conditions. And one of the words or one of the comments in the conditions, will this have a negative impact on the community? I don't see how us passing this would not exacerbate or make it worse. More likely that at some point we are questioning those conditions that we vote on at the end. So I guess my first question to you, Phil, is because the state changed the rules, does it create a mandate for us as a city to have to change our rules, or can we leave them in place? Because the existing cannabis dispensaries, including Ember, can operate like they have continued. The issues around the complaints that have been generated is for another body to address, or for us to address under a different circumstance or situation. But do we have to pass this so that our regulations mirror the state? And if we don't, why, from your opinion, would it benefit our community and the residents in that area for us to support this change?
I'm not 100% sure I can answer that. I know the city, when we talked about the distance of 500 feet, the city could, I believe, make that less, but couldn't make it more restrictive. So if the city could, if they didn't want to use the 500 feet, they could say 600, 700, or 800, but you couldn't go 4, 3, or 2. I'm not sure if that triggers the same for this measurement. I would assume that the state may trump the city, but I'd have to defer to the law department on it. Just to clarify as well, though, I mean, again, with regards to Ember, if they, I mean, I understand there's been issues out there, they would, just to let you know, they would have to come back to the city council if they wanted to use this parcel for parking, for an extended parking, because that would, you know, when they were first approved, they were approved as per the site plan that was submitted. This would be a change in their site plan. So in my opinion, they would have to come back to the city council and get your guys' permission in order to extend that parking lot. And whether that would be another curb cut on Boston Road, I don't know, but so you at least have a shot at that particular one. All the other ones, I don't believe would come into play here. So I'm afraid I'm not 100% sure whether, again, we're proposing this change because the state has made it. I don't know if we leave it, whether that, it basically would just mean that Ember couldn't expand. But, you know, I don't know, I'm not sure I can answer the question about whether this is good or bad. I mean, to your point, you know, the uses for an adult establishment have been pretty straightforward, and there have been no issues, and, you know, Ember is really the only one that I've heard issues with the butters. Everyone else, you wouldn't know they're an operating, you know, that we didn't get the 900 people and everybody, the parking and the traffic issues where people were concerned about. So I'm not sure if this change would make that better or worse. It also would only really come into play if we open up the door for the rest of the remaining licenses. I think you guys have approved 6 so far. I think we have in our zoning up to 13. So when and if that happens, where more come in, the new measurement would trigger that versus already established ones.
Councilor Brown, then Councilor Curran.
Thank you, Mr. President. Being on the state level, I've heard, and I represent that area over there also, so I've heard of numerous complaints about that actual location, Ember. And unfortunately, I mean, it's a thriving business, so I kudos to them, but unfortunately, it has been very troublesome in that area. So much trouble that basically it's my belief that they're doing this actually amendment to try to address some of those situations, which in my opinion, I don't believe it'll address it. I think it'll make it worse. What basically they're saying is it'll enable the actual weed dispensaries to move even closer. And I'm correct. That's correct.
Theoretically, yeah. I mean, it could also mean that somebody who was planning one couldn't because their door to door is the same. But right now, yes, property line to property line does open the door further.
Yeah. So really, you know, just I know we have. Maybe they won't, maybe they will, but what I am saying is it allows weed companies to move closer to schools. Yes, correct?
With the city council's approval. I mean, any new company that comes in still needs a special permit from the city council.
And I would just still bend and concur with my colleague, Councilor Edwards. I don't see why we should change it for one entity to aid them in moving closer or anything. I think we should just keep it the way it is. But thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Councilor Curran.
Thanks, Phil. Thank you, Mr. President. Just for clarification, just so I know what we are specifically talking about, Ember exists already. They're talking about expanding either the building or the parking lot within the 500? What are they looking to expand?
Well, again, I think we're kind of focusing on Ember. The proposed change wasn't specifically for Ember. It was just a change to the measurement of how you go from school to school. Ember happens to be one of the businesses that could take advantage of it, but the change itself.
From school to dispensary, you mean?
Correct.
Okay.
So-
And the change would be, for clarification for me, because I don't understand it. It'll go from the school to the dispensary. The current law is it has to be more than 500 feet, 500 or more.
From property line to property line.
500 or more. And with the new change.
It's from the center of their entrance to the center of the entrance of the adult use.
Which would shrink the
again, I'm not
bookends.
knowing that distance. Yes,
Yeah.
it probably will shrink the distance.
So hypothetically, it could shrink it to 400 feet, we'll
Correct.
say. Understood. And, okay.
And it's my understanding, again, just from having conversations with folks, that their parking is pretty tight, and they're looking to be able to add to their existing, not the building, add to their existing parking lot.
Second question, and you may not have a good answer, but if you have a guesstimate. When we were first going through the marijuana licensing, how many applicants did we reject because they didn't meet this requirement? Would you know off the top of your head? I know there was at least one, but was there 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I can probably, I think there might have been 1 or 2. I don't recall. There was also, a couple that were too close to residents because they wanted to be marijuana cultivators, so you had to be 500 feet away from a residential, so there were a couple of those as well.
Yeah, and not to go too far down the rabbit hole, but the ones that were rejected, did they already own the property and they were just waiting for the license and they didn't meet this requirement? Is that, somehow in my recollection, I remember somebody.
I really couldn't tell you. I think Councilor Whitfield was on the review committee as well.
Councilor Whitfield.
That could have been one of the requirements, but it was so many from so many different departments. You would have to kind of like look at the complete application because you had to meet safety requirements, you had to meet requirements with the fire, health department. It was just like so many different requirements. That could have been one of the determining factors, but it could have been more than just that as well.
I guess just my opinion and what I'm hearing is I would concur with Councilor Melvin Edwards. I mean, I don't think there's any real reason to move it closer to a school at this point. The last couple things we were talking about, marketing the THC and gas stations and the Crampton and the gas stations to children. And, one thing when we legalized this or allowed it here in the city of Springfield, we were looking at the jobs aspect. We were also looking at, senior citizens who might use THC and marijuana for health elements, but we weren't really thinking, or I wasn't at least thinking so much of how we're normalizing marijuana to our school children. And, we're going to have to start thinking, do we make marijuana legal for, raise the age to 25 or 30 to get it away from school children. So this would not help that situation. So I agree with Councilor Melvin Edwards. That's common sense. Moving these dispensaries closer to schools, I don't think is a good thing. And so my initial opinion would be to vote against this.
Thank you, Councilor Kern. Councilor Davila?
Thank you, Mr. President. Phil, I agree, I concur that the last thing we possibly ever want to do is to move a marijuana dispensary closer to a school. That would make absolutely no freaking sense. With that being said, I want to make sure that I got my ducks in order here, Phil. So I'm going to ask you to use a crayon for me if you could, please, because I need to be clear. The footage is not going to change. It's still going to be 500 feet, correct?
Correct.
All right. I heard at least twice in this argument today that it's going to make it closer, potentially make it closer to a school. Now, right now, we are measuring from property line to property line, correct?
Correct.
And the proposed change that we're going to be measuring from the front of the door of the marijuana dispensary to the front of the door of the school, correct?
The entrance.
The entrance, meaning what? The door?
Well, I can
the-
just go by, it just talks about the nearest school entrance.
What does entrance means? I mean, the front steps, the door, that's what I think. Any,
Yeah, I'm assuming any door, a door that they use for,
okay,
yeah.
I got you. Yeah, I agree with that statement. I just want to be clear. Now, I also, so basically it said, I'm going to read the current language, and then I'm going to read the proposal language, the first sentence. It says, no adult use this is the current language. No adult marijuana establishment should be located within 500 feet of pre-existing public or private school providing education in kindergarten. And then it talks about the proposed language. No adult use marijuana establishment should be within 500 feet of a pre-existing public or private school providing education in kindergarten and so forth. So it's basically the same footage. I just don't see how that's going to be closer to a school. If the footage is the same, how is that closer to a school?
I mean, again, I can only go from an example where, you know, schools can be on a pretty large property where the building could be 500 feet away from the property line, but you're taking the measurement from the property line to the property line, where now the measurement will be from the actual building to the actual building of the adult use. So it just means that the buildings may ultimately be closer because the buildings may be situated differently on the property. Again, if I look at like Warren School, it's a huge property, but the building's 500 feet from the property line.
So that I understand and that people at home understand that we're basically losing X amount of footage, whatever that might be, from the door of the property to the end of the property.
Yeah, I mean, a good example is like Putnam on State Street. If Mass Mutual wasn't there and someone wanted to open a site at Mass Mutual, now the distance is, Putnam's all the way down versus the property line would be right across the street.
Gotcha, thank you, I'm clear. I was not grasping that concept. So leads me to my other question. Did you say that this is going to be, this already passed by the state?
Yes,
So
the state has made the change.
So is it state law or is it policy?
No, I believe it's state law under this Chapter 935 CMR 500. So I believe it's a state law that the Cannabis Control Commission amended. I'm just going by what I've been told by the law department when this came up was to. So I
just have, if I may, point of information, Mr. President, if I may. Can the Cannabis Control Board, if that's the right terminology, can they pass law or is that policy, sir?
They can pass CMRs, they can pass regulations, which
regulations,
is a form of law. They can't pass a statute and they can't dictate what happens in our zoning.
Are we bound by that, sir?
I have an opinion on that, but I'm not comfortable sharing it. We should get that from the law department.
I understand that, so what happens if we don't approve this today? Is the state going to force us to? Or automatically going to go?
I mean, I don't think it makes a difference because all of our establishments are already approved.
Right.
It will impact when and if the city moves forward with the rest of the licenses for adult use.
Or if they want to make a change to whatever
Right, or if you wanted to make a change to, again, if Ember wanted to use that piece of the property for parking, I don't believe they'd be able to do it. But again, I would have to defer to law because I believe that would be an expansion of a use. And right now, the way our ordinance is written, they would be within 500 feet of the school property line.
I understand. And to be clear, I'm not singling one dispensary or the other because I don't want to poison the well for any future issues. But with that being said, Phil, so your suggestion is to approve this?
I mean, I
see
defer.
the paper says approve.
I defer to the city council. I mean, again,
Is that what it says? It says
Yes,
approve.
yes. I mean, the recommendation was to approve. That was the plan. Again, on the behest of the Springfield Law Department, I was asked to petition this change to get our regulations in line with the changes at the state level.
I understand, Phil, but are we approving all one package, or are we approving different sections?
Well, I guess I would defer to you guys. If there's certain sections that you guys don't want to approve, I don't believe you need to vote on that. You can, I think you can approve Article 4, Section 4, you can, there's two other changes. So I would say if this one you guys do not want to approve, you could move forward with the other two, or you could not.
I got you.
That's right. Anything else, Counselor?
I was going to say, thank you for your explanation. Now that I'm more clear about the property lines, I humbly suggest that we parse this cookie in different portions so that we don't make dispensaries closer to school. That would be idiotic, in my opinion. No point intended. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Counselor Walsh?
Thank you, Mr. President, and I think many people here in the council remember that when we were creating the marijuana dispensaries and the ordinances, a lot of thought and effort went into it. There's a lot of discussion, a lot of input from citizens, from people who would be affected by the placement of the establishments, and I think we did a really good job way back then with the 500-foot buffer, and I don't see any reason to change it. I think it'd be detrimental, and I am not supportive of the change and don't plan on voting for it.
Thank you, Counselor Walsh. Counselor Govan?
Thank you, Mr. President. So, Phil, I don't know if you can answer this question or not. So, right now, Ember is the only store that is close enough to a school to be affected by this. Would they be allowed to, even though our city ordinance says that they can't be 500 feet from the property, but the state policy says that they can, it has to be door to door. Would they be allowed to like override the city ordinance?
I guess I don't think, when we first started having this discussion with Ember a few months ago, because they were proposing this, this was one of the first things to me that popped up.
Okay.
It said, well, you specifically carved out your parcel to get out of the 500-foot buffer. You now can't come in and put it in. So
Right.
my opinion, I don't think they could, but I would have to defer to the law department.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because I think I agree with the counselors to make sure that we keep away cannabis from children, just like alcohol. I wish that we could have a barrier between the alcohol establishments and the schools, but we've already passed that. So thank you for that clarification. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor Govan. Counselor Click Bruce.
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, so this is in Ward 5, and we've been in communication with the
Counselor
Ember.
Click Bruce, can you just hang on one second? Focus. It's a little hard to hear Counselor Click Bruce. Can we try to turn up the volume here in the council chamber? Okay, try again, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yeah, let me.
That's better. That's better.
That's better. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've been in discussion with the dispensary. I know we don't want to single one out, but this is the one that's probably going to be most effective with this rule change. So we've been in discussion with trying to make some amendments and working with Phil and Chris Ignoli and also the business owner. With all that being said, thank you, Counselor Edwards and Victor, and also Counselor Brown for bringing. My question was simply, can we vote separately on different items? So that was answered for me, because we don't want to hold up the process, but I don't feel comfortable voting to expand and putting this closer to children when we, again, like it was already said, like we just voted on with the gas station, the gas station weed, keeping that from out of children. So I would love for us to take this out with this petition, and we can have a discussion with Ember directly if they want to come before us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Click Bruce. So it sounds like there's an appetite from the council to make a motion to strike this portion of the petition. But before we get that motion, Phil, you've only gone over one of the items so far, right?
Correct. There's two more.
Oh, there's two. Okay, so which language being amended have you discussed so far?
So it's the amendment to Article 4, Section 4.7.114, subsection A2.
Okay, so not the changes to the use table?
No.
Okay, so is there, well, maybe we should hear about the use table first before we make that motion, because if there's going to be opposition to the use table, then there's no real sense in separating them. So Phil, can you please go on to the second portion of your presentation here?
Sure. So the second of this, and this is being driven mostly by the adult use establishments, and this relates to medical marijuana uses. As the council's aware, medical marijuana was the first marijuana establishments that were brought into the city, and when those were brought in, there were pretty strict restrictions on where they can go. Under our current ordinance, medical marijuana can only be allowed in industrial A districts. So the proposed change is to amend the use table to mirror where medical marijuana can go to where adult use marijuana can go. So right now the use table specifically says for registered marijuana facilities, you're only allowed in industrial A with a special permit. Under the proposed changes, they would be allowed in business A, business B, business C, business D, riverfront, industrial mixed use, industrial A, and industrial P, all with that special permit requirement. Again, that's what's allowed if you were doing an adult marijuana establishment. So that's the proposed change, is to change the use table for medical to reflect what you could do for adult.
Councilor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, Phil, I remember there was a time when you came before us.
Yes, last year.
Last year, you know what I'm talking about. And it was being able to allow those who had medical marijuana establishments are able to sell the adult.
Well, the adult be able to sell medical.
No, because my question to you was, can now the adult use be able to sell medical?
Correct.
And it was no. Yeah, it was no. And so I was like, so the only one that would be able to have both medical and adult use in their facility would have been INSA.
Well, no, the change and the second part of the third amendment is based around that same language.
And I said, if it can't go both ways, where the adult can now sell medical, INSA will still have a monopoly because they will be able to take their adult use establishment, sell medical marijuana and adult use marijuana, but the other adult use marijuana facilities would not be able to sell medical. And I thought that was an unfair advantage for INSA.
Well, I'm not going to. I don't want to argue with you because I don't. That's not how I see it, and that's not how this would go tonight.
Okay.
So, in addition to the use table, the last proposed change is to add a section to the adult use section that talks about if you are an existing fully permitted adult use establishment, you would be allowed to open, to be able to sell medical marijuana as well. And that would open it to all the ones that are currently permitted.
Well, okay.
Including INSA, I believe Six Bricks wants to do it as well.
Yeah, no, that would be fair, but I remember when you came before us before.
I don't remember that, Counselor.
I remember it so well because the only reason that it lost is because there was a few counselors that were not here. And I was happy that it didn't pass because INSA would have had a monopoly at that point. And as well as that, INSA wants to get their money back that they gave to the city and all these things. So I would have a real problem with that. But if it's fair and equitable to all the marijuana establishments, then I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. So the final change would be adding a new section which talks about where a registered marijuana dispensary is co-located within an adult use marijuana establishment that is permitted through Section 245 of the General Ordinance as amended, as well as having an existing special permit.
So can you just clarify section 245? That's not the medical marijuana section, is it?
I don't know. I'd have to defer to the
We
law
would need to
department.
know that, because if you're amending that section, that means that if you already have a medical marijuana establishment, then you can co-locate. I needed to say, if you have a adult use marijuana dispensary, you can co-locate.
That's how I read it, but I mean, I know Attorney Wilson is here and may be able to clarify, but I believe the intent was that if you are an existing established adult use, you'd be able to sell medical marijuana as well, without having to come in and get a
Attorney Wilson, can you,
Councilor Whitfield still has the floor.
well, do you have an answer for me? Okay.
Councilor Edwards?
She's right. Originally, it was denied in part because it wasn't creating a monopoly for only one, it was going to benefit only one institution. This will change it so that all of them now are on level field. So the operation on State Street, Zaza's, Six Bricks, everybody is now on equal footing. And that's the difference between it was before. But to be very succinct, there's a gentleman, Attorney Wilson is here to explain it, and no disrespect to Phil, but this is the point where we need to listen to Anthony, because he can explain it. It is more equitable. This opens it up to the other dispensaries and takes the monopoly away.
That's the part that I was only concerned about, and I knew this was coming. I just wanted to make sure that we're not saying that if you're under the medical marijuana rules and guidelines, that now you can open a adult use.
Yes,
But if we're changing it where you're an adult use,
yes,
and now you can operate in medical marijuana,
but to
I want to
answer
make
your
sure
first
it's under
question was
that
that you were
code.
right, because you are absolutely correct. It did fail part because there was enough people here. We don't know how they would have voted, but your opposition originally was because it was going to create a monopoly to somebody who already had a monopoly. This addresses this and opens it up and makes it more equitable to the other dispensaries, regardless of who owns them, to put them all on the same footing. And I think
you got an
Attorney
answer?
Wilson.
Well,
Anthony, can you come? I mean, Attorney Wilson, can you come up? Come on.
Attorney Wilson?
So if the question is Anthony Wilson, 54 Western Street, Waltham, Massachusetts, representing Zaza Green, Liberty Cannabis, INSA, Six Bricks, and Primus. So if the question is about how 245 of the general ordinances relates to the zoning ordinance, it is referenced in the amendment that Phil is presenting to the body. That part of the general ordinances references the licensing of the facilities, particularly the adult use facilities. So the amendment to the zoning ordinance, as I read it, both to the use table and to the addition of this definition, would allow adult uses to co-locate, for medical marijuana establishments to co-locate with adult uses, not the other way around.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Councilor Walsh.
So just to clarify, the medical marijuana establishments would not become adult use establishments? Is that
Mr.
correct?
Dromey?
no, because currently there's only one medical marijuana use located on Cottage Street. So the idea is the ones, the operating adult use operators now, Boston Road, Six Bricks on Main Street, INSA, all the other ones on State Street, could now, right now, under our ordinance, they would not be allowed to sell medical marijuana because they wouldn't meet any of the requirements that our current zoning has. This new section allows them to now co-locate within an existing permitted adult use operation. So I would assume that the one on Cottage Street would move to INSA. Six Bricks could then come in and start selling medical marijuana. So I believe it just adds additional revenue to the existing uses.
So, Mr. President, that would be a change if you are, if all the adult use licenses also become medical, that impacts whoever has a single medical license, correct?
Well, correct, but there's
Yeah.
only one right now,
Yeah.
operated by, I believe, INSA. So right now, there are no other medical marijuanas, and no other adult use could apply for a medical marijuana because our current ordinance wouldn't allow them to. Because they're in districts that aren't allowed. That's the amendment to the use table to even allow them to operate. Right now, Cottage Street, where INSA has their medical marijuana, is the only one that's zoned industrial A. So, you know, Six Bricks is business C, INSA's Riverfront, State Street's business A. So none of the existing locations would even be able to apply for a medical marijuana because the zoning wouldn't allow it. These proposed changes now allow a medical marijuana establishment to co-locate into an existing adult use establishment. So the ones that are currently open and have their special permit would be allowed to add medical marijuana as well. And again, it's my understanding that that's not a significant impact to either traffic or other kind of neighborhood-related issues.
So we're creating a one-stop shop so people can get both things at the same time. I think it makes sense, and it's probably a very good business plan for the established licenses we've already given out. So I would be in favor of this, but not the change to a school.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh. Okay, a lot of councilors who want to be heard, so I'm doing my best. Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think what a lot of people, I think this is something that will benefit a lot of people. I don't think people understand. When it comes to a lot of the people who using medical use is something that they have to use medically, the pricing is different also. Some medical use, as far as the compensation for the description of it being medical, will give them certain discounted price, and certain things are covered, you know, because now you're talking about medicinal opposed to recreation. So there is still certain aid that a person who has a medical marijuana license would be able to take advantage of, just as, you know, a little bit more than as far as pricing. And I would also concur with what Councilor Edwards was saying. I think maybe you might have misread the last time, or was a little bit confusing to the council body, but it was my understanding, same as Councilor Whitfield, that you were saying that no one else would be able to do it. So I'm very happy to see that it'll open up the playing field and help everyone. So that it's definitely something that'll help aid people who are actually in the medical marijuana use, as far as being able to obtain necessary treatment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Councilor Govan and Councilor Devlin.
So thank you, Mr. President. So it sounds like I think we're in agreement to this part. So would it be possible for us, if I can make a motion, to let us vote on this piece of it for right now and put the school question, we could send that to committee?
Yes, you could make a
Is this
motion.
an appropriate time for me to do
Yeah,
that?
if you'd like to make a motion at this time. Well, let me think about this for a second. So we've got an open public hearing.
Yeah,
How am I going to, wait a minute, let me think about this. How am I going to separate this into 2 or 3 votes, approve one, and leave the hearing open for the other? I can't vote on one until we close the hearing. Can we just call for maybe a 2-minute recess so we can talk to the law department about that? That's a little bit trickier than I first realized. When we get back, we will hear from Councilor Davila and then Councilor Brown again. 2-minute recess. Okay, we're back. Let me know when you're ready, focus. Okay, everybody. I was saving that one for a while. Okay, so I talked with the law department and with Phil. Here's the situation. This is a zoning hearing, so it's been posted in the newspaper. We've sent out the appropriate notices. We can bifurcate the votes. There are 3 different article amendments that are before us tonight. If we are going to separate them and you want to vote on one of them, we need to vote on the other 2 as well. So you could vote up yes to the ones that the council is amenable to and no to the ones that the council is not amenable to, and then dispose of them that way tonight. If the council does not want to vote on some of them tonight, then you have to continue them all tonight. You can't vote on some and then continue the rest. So before we get any further, on that point of order and information, councilors, hang on. Councilors, questions about that? Councilor Whitfield?
So I didn't think we were continuing anything. I thought we were kind of all in agreement that we're not doing the school thing, and then we are okay with the other 2.
Okay, so if that's true, maybe I misread councilors. If it's true that the council just wants to take 3 separate votes tonight, up or down, then we can do that after the hearing has been closed. So at this time, if Councilor Govan would like to make a motion that at the time after the hearing is closed, that we vote separately on each of these 3 proposals as outlined in the content and minute track, then we'd entertain that motion at this time.
That's what I would like to do.
Okay, so Councilor Govan has made that motion.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Whitfield. Okay, Madam Clerk, is there any discussion on that motion? Councilor Allen? For your microphone, please.
I seem to be in a group of 1 here, but I got 1 more meeting. I'm not sure that I should be voting on this when there's someone going to come in behind me who maybe could understand this and vote on it when he gets here. I would be inclined to say just put everything, publish what we're talking about tonight, because there's not a lot of people here. You just let me talk. And have open information for everybody. We're talking about things tonight that I didn't know we were going to talk about. Maybe everybody else was ready for this discussion. Marijuana is open again. It sounds like it's open again. So why not just have a hearing, in a couple of weeks, where everything is on the table, people all know about it, and we know what we vote for. I wouldn't be at the hearing, but that's how I feel. I don't feel prepared to vote on anything.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Okay, Councilor Click Bruce has his hand up in the queue for a while, and I don't know. Councilor Click Bruce, did you want to be heard on this motion to separate this into 3 votes?
Yes, Councilor, President. I just had a question for point of clarification. If we were to send this to committee, which I guess I'm hearing it correctly, will this go into the new year? If we were to send this to committee to possibly be voting on for next meeting, or just going to get pushed out to the following year, which would be January?
If the matter was continued tonight, it would be pushed out till next year. It would be pushed out till January. You cannot refer a zone change to committee. We would need to keep the hearing open, and the council would reconvene in January, a new session with the new council, and that's when it would be deliberated on. Hang on a second. Councilor Click Bruce has the floor. Councilor Click Bruce?
Yeah. So, before knowing that it couldn't be voted on separately, which, I would like to do, and or send one of these issues to committee for further dialogue. So I guess we're in a pickle, because I understand where folks are coming from regarding the school zones. And again, reiterate, we're working with the dispensary directly to try to remedy some of these issues that we're having over at the dispensary. But the way it's being presented, the way I'm being told now is it can't be separated. So I guess I want to hear what other councilors have to say about this before I make any further comments.
Can you repeat that last part, Councilor Quick, Bruce?
I guess I'll wait to hear from other councilors. I yield the floor.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Davila has not been heard from yet. Councilor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, just to be clear, so it will appear to me that what we're saying that we are able to make a motion, which Councilor Govan has so graciously made, to separate this into 3 different items. If we decide we can continue this, it will not be to committee, it will be a continuance from what I believe the President is saying.
That's correct.
Until next year.
That's correct.
If I'm not mistaken, Mr. President, if we do that, I personally don't see why we wouldn't be able to vote on this today. Then in January, the new body, there will be people who will not be able to vote on this because they have not sat through the hearing. Is that correct?
Well, there is a state law provision that allows them to certify to the city clerk that they've watched the video. If they take on that responsibility, they could watch the video and swear that they had seen it and then participate at that time.
I understand. I personally, Mr. President, I will submit to you that I personally will feel more comfortable if we do our due diligence and we vote on this today, which appears to me to be the appetite of the council, because we have people that have come to testify, and we just need to put this to bed quickly. But I do have a question afterwards regarding the footage at the appropriate times.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. Councilor Whitfield.
So we would have to continue the whole thing. That's all established. Will we have to re-advertise?
No, because we would continue to a date certain. We would say that this hearing is continued until a date certain in January. We'd have to pick the date of the first hearings meeting tonight, basically,
Oh, okay, so
which is usually the third Monday in January.
third Monday?
Yeah.
So the reason I asked, that's number one for the fee, didn't want to pay that. And then number two, it's just continuing, so we're not giving out more notifications to get more people here. So unless we talk to people or they watch the video or something, there's no guarantee that we'll get more businesses here. So I'm ready to vote on this tonight and in 3 separate votes. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Whitfield. So there's a motion on the floor made by Councilor Govan, seconded by Councilor Whitfield. Unless there's further discussion on that motion, let's take a vote on that motion and then we'll go back to the hearing. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. This motion was to separate the item into 3 separate votes this evening for the 3 separate amendments to the zoning ordinance outlined in this agenda item. Councilor Allen?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 2 marijuana places texting me. I can't get this thing. Go on. There we go. And I can't translate the motion to what they're texting me about. I feel unequipped, not equipped to vote tonight. I can't. They're texting me during this meeting saying, represent this, and I don't know how to translate it. I think it's irresponsible to go forward and vote tonight with all the stuff that's been talked about tonight. I'm glad some people understand it all. I don't. I don't understand it all. And I don't know how what we're talking about here relates to the 2 existing marijuana places that are texting me tonight. So I just feel more comfortable. I don't know what the issue is. I know everybody likes to finish stuff, but sometimes it's not the best idea to finish stuff. Sometimes to make sure that people all understand. I don't understand. So I'm either going to abstain or not represent the people, the viewpoints of the people that are texting me, and that makes me uncomfortable. And I can't quite understand the rush to do this.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Allen. Councilor Curran, we're on the motion still.
Can you text them? Can you text them back and ask them why they're not in city council chambers?
Thank you, Councilor Curran.
Because it is.
Thank you.
It's an important.
Okay.
I see one person.
Okay.
How can all 6 places be represented by one person?
So
Okay.
it's an important
Councilor
issue.
Curran.
So text them back, say, come on down to the
Thank you.
chambers.
Thank you very much. Okay, any other deliberation on the motion made by Councilor Govan, seconded by Councilor Whitfield? This is just to separate it tonight into 3 separate votes. Then we're going to continue with the hearing. If there are other people in favor, we'll hear from them. If there are opponents, we'll also hear from them. Any other discussion on the motion? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion. Councilor Whitfield.
Those texters, can they go online and then?
This is a public hearing,
So they can go online?
This is noticed.
And they can tell all of us what their concerns are, because you can't articulate what they're saying. So if they can join the link, then they have an opportunity to speak to all of us, because we need it articulated to us. We're not going to say we're going to pause this because two people who are not here are not articulating to all of us, but one of us. And they can join if they want to join.
Okay. Now, thought we were going to get to the motion. Counselor Davila.
Mr.
Wait a minute. If a counselor asks for the floor, I'm going to give them the floor. If they have a motion they're going to entertain, we'll entertain the motion. In the meantime, other people are still trying to be heard. If you want to make a motion to call the question, we can do that, and it'll halt debate. Counselor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. I really want to vote on this now. However, I do have to say that I am suddenly concerned, sir. Sometimes good intentions have difficult outcomes. I will second and ask you to explore Councilor Whitfield's suggestion, because I do feel, Mr. President, at this point of the hearing, I feel that it's my duty as a counselor to say that in my humble opinion, the well has been poisoned.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
It is my humble opinion that I do believe that at this point of the hearing, the well has been poisoned. Now, I'm not a lawyer. That could be a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But I will humbly submit to you, sir, and suggest to you that perhaps we should allow for, please don't kill me for this, a quick recess to allow those people who may be interested and appears to be texting counselors to join us. As you said that they could. If they don't, it's on them, not on us. But I do have to go on the record to say that I do fear, sir, that the well has been poisoned. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Counselor Davila. This is an open and noticed meeting. The links are available if the public would like to speak. I don't think we should take a recess to allow for additional time for that. Counselor Govan?
I call the question.
Okay, motion to call the question. Is there a second? Okay, motion made by Counselor Govan, seconded by Counselor Whitfield to call the question. 2/3, you can't discuss on call the question. This is just to close the discussion on the question of the motion by Counselor Govan to separate this into 3 votes. 2/3 are required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion to call the question.
On the motion to call the question, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
No.
No, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
No.
No, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Santinello.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Perez. Absent, Counselor Fenton.
No, more than sufficient. Motion to call the question passes. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion made by Counselor Govan, seconded by Counselor Whitfield, to separate this into 3 separate votes at the conclusion of the hearing.
On the motion to separate, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Walsh. Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Santinello.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Perez. Absent, Counselor Fenton.
Yes, warrant sufficient, motion passes. Okay, counselors, the hearing is still open. We're in the proponent's portion of the hearing. We've heard from Phil and no one else. Phil has not yet fully completed, although I imagine he's got to most of his presentation. After that, we'll allow for other proponents to speak in favor, and at the end of that, we'll offer opponents a chance to speak. So, Phil, do you have anything else as a proponent that you'd like to add at this time?
Well, just as long as everybody's clear that the final section was an amendment to Article 4, Section 4.4.100, which was adding a new section which basically says that when a registered marijuana dispensary, medical marijuana dispensary, is co-locating within an existing permitted adult use marijuana, then the guidelines of the adult use marijuana section of the ordinance would govern. So it kind of allows them to to operate a medical marijuana facility in the same location as an adult marijuana facility. So those are the, so again, just to wrap it up, the first are, the amendments are to Article 4, Table 4.4, which is the use table.
That's vote number 1.
The second amendment would be to Article 4, Section 4.7.114A2, and that's the change to the how you measure a school.
That's vote 2.
And then the final change is amending Article 4, Section 4.4.100 by including a new Section 4.7.105.
That's vote number 3. So I'm going to ask, we're going to have some more discussion here. So I'm going to ask the council staff to print up that summary, those 3 summaries, and circulate them to everybody, because when it does come time to vote later after we close the hearing, I want to make sure everybody is clear on which item corresponds with which. Okay, so the hearing is still open. Councilors have more they'd like to say and more they'd like to address. There's going to be plenty of time to do that, including plenty of time to ask the applicants. Do any councilors have anything burning they need to say or ask Phil right now? Councilor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to be clear with regards to the footage, Phil. So actually, what's the current footage for medical establishments?
For medical, it's quite restrictive. It's actually 500 feet from a school, daycare center, kindergarten, private college, public park, anywhere where children congregate.
Okay.
The adult use is only the 500 feet from a school, either K through 12.
Okay. So we coexisting with, so a medical coexisting now with an adult use, the 500 feet buffer will apply and it will be less restrictive?
Well, the regulations in the adult use marijuana with the addition of that new section would now govern a medical marijuana, which is going to co-locate within one of the existing
Would
uses.
you mind saying that again, Phil?
So adding that new section, Section 105, talks about that the guidelines for an adult use marijuana establishment would govern if a medical marijuana use is co-locating within that adult use marijuana. So if someone wants to come and just open up a medical marijuana establishment, they're still going to be under the existing medical marijuana regulations. They would have to be only an industrial A unless we change the use table. But you'd have to be 500 feet away from all those other uses, the public parks, the kindergartens, the colleges. By adding that new section, we're now saying that a medical marijuana establishment that's going to co-locate within one of the existing permitted adult use establishments would be allowed to do that because the adult use regulations would govern that particular medical marijuana use.
So it will be less restrictive
Yes.
for the medical marijuana?
Yes.
Okay. The only good thing about this, Phil, just to be clear, because I'm sure people at home has lots of questions, that one, in order to get medical marijuana, you have to have a doctor prescription, correct? You have to go through all the security steps, and we know, and it has been proven, it has medical benefits, and hopefully by having more competition, the price point of the medical marijuana will hopefully decrease, correct?
This certainly opens the door for more medical marijuana uses in Springfield. So I'd have to defer to the actual businesses about, I'm assuming more uses and more competition would lower prices, but right now we only have one.
Right, and the amount of medical marijuana establishments are also the same equation for adult use, or is there a different equation?
What was that?
The amount of medical marijuana licenses available, is that the same equation as the one that is used for the adult use? Or
No,
is that,
there was no cap on medical
there was no
marijuana
cap,
uses.
okay.
No.
But there's definitely a cap on
Yes,
adult
I
use.
believe it's 13 in the city of Springfield.
And we only have 6.
We've only issued 6 special permits. Not all of those have opened, but we've issued 6 special permits.
I understand. Mr. President, if you indulge me, I wonder if Attorney Wilson has anything he would like to add regarding my line of questioning. You don't.
Attorney Wilson,
you don't have
would
to
you
if you,
come forward?
Anything on the footage you want to clear up or?
Well, I was prepared to wait for the opponents. So, the entities I represent are against the changing the 500-foot, and I could talk about that now, or I could wait for the opponent section of the hearing.
I'd rather follow then, okay, yeah. If you don't mind, then waiting, sir. Thank you.
We'll get to you shortly, Anthony.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank
Very
you,
kind.
counselors.
Thank you, Phil.
Any other counselors who need to be heard right now on this subject? Okay. Phil, anything else you'd like to add as a proponent for these changes?
No.
Okay. So we're going to open it up to other proponents in a second. For purposes of the council's information, the document that's just the two-sided document that's just been circulated to you by Gladys, it outlines the 3 separate votes that will take place after this hearing based on Councilor Govan's motion. The first is with respect to amendments for the use table to allow medicinal marijuana in other districts outside of industrial. The second is the amendment pertaining to the setback from schools. And the third is an amendment to the adult use marijuana co-location on sites that have medicinal. So basically, items 1 and 3 you can think of as a package. Those are related to each other. And item 2 is the one that is dissimilar. Okay? All right. Thank you, Phil. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Councilor Brown, before we get into that, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes. Now that I'm glad he comes here because on the number 3, if you can go into maybe, I know that it helps number 1, but how does it help? Can you go into maybe explaining number 3?
Phil, would you go over that again, please? Just explain what I just said about 1 and 3 being related.
Oh, yeah, so item, excuse me, item 1 is an amendment to the existing use table. Right now, medical marijuana is only allowed in Industrial A. That's the only district in the city that you can put a medical marijuana dispensary in. What the proposed change does is basically mirror the language for an adult use marijuana establishment. So in addition to allowing medical marijuana in Industrial A, the use table would be amended to allow it within Business A, Business B, Business C, Business D, Riverfront, and Industrial Park.
Right, so all the same zones as adult use.
Correct.
So is that 3? Is that where 3 comes in?
No, so now Phil explain, now explain number 3, please.
I got 1.
Yeah.
I want to know why 3.
Well,
How
item 3, so again, the second one is the language about the schools. The third amendment is adding a new section 4.7.105, which outlines that where a registered marijuana dispensary is co-locating within an adult use establishment with a marijuana operating permit and a special permit can now operate in that adult use, and that the adult use regulations currently in place would the requirements of the adult use would govern the medical marijuana use versus the current regulations we have in place. So it basically says what it's getting down to is that you can now, if you are an existing permitted adult use operation, you would now be allowed to also incorporate a medical marijuana use.
Okay, say that, wait, I'm sorry. Phil, say that last part, that's the most important part. Say that last part one more time.
If you are currently an existing fully permitted adult use operation, which we currently have 6 special permits, not all operating, but you would now be allowed to operate a medical marijuana, I'm trying to think of the word for it, medical marijuana operation within that. You would be able to co-locate a medical marijuana in addition to the adult use.
Okay, so number 1 allows medicinal marijuana in all the districts that adult recreational use is permitted. Number 3 allows for special permit holders for adult use to add medicinal without an additional special permit. That's what the two things do.
Yes, yeah, it would only require an administrative site plan review.
Tier
versus-
1 administrative site plan review.
Versus having to come back to the city.
Okay.
council.
Before, councilors have a lot to say, and I'm going to turn the floor back over to Councilor Brown, but do councilors understand that distinction of what 1 and 3 are doing? Okay, Councilor Brown.
So
Councilor Allen does not, but Councilor
now
Brown.
that I understand it, okay, we're basically still saying that the actual laws that apply to a medicinal, just strictly medicinal entity is now being able to be lessened if they label themselves as the medical person can't go as close, correct? So now this will let the medical people go closer.
Only
Wouldn't
if
it?
you're co-locating within an existing adult use.
But
If Joe Schmo wants to come in and open a medical marijuana facility, they're still governed by all the underlying.
But where, and don't get me wrong, I'm going to support it, but where I find the issue is that when we put these laws into place, we considered the distance between medical marijuana and its location and how far it should be. You know, so now, you know, you're talking about entities that might have opened up a medical marijuana area, and now those actual laws that we put in place doesn't apply. They can just move to a adult use dispensary, making the actual square footage not apply to them. Correct?
I'd say yes.
Okay. That's what I mean.
I'd say yes.
And not saying I'm not gonna, support it, but that is where I have a little bit of discrepancies, because now, what we put into place, if I can say, hey, all I do is got to put it in a different package, and now I'm allowed to move closer when the actual law was put into place as far as medical marijuana and the distance. So that's the only, I'm not saying I'm not going to support it. That's my only issue.
Councilor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I don't know why the distance makes a difference. For me, it's more about equity and folks that weren't traditionally able to sell the medical marijuana being able to sell it now. It was a monopoly with INTA, and now it's not. And so I think that's a better, fairer playing field for adult use, because INTA has both. Why shouldn't the other ones have both, right? And so that's why I support that. The question that I do have, and I don't know if you know it, Phil, would a prescription still be required on the medical side? Because you said the laws that govern the adult use now governs the medical use.
Well, just for location purposes, not for.
Just for location
I
purposes,
can't
not-
speak to you in order to get a medical.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's technically a prescription, but I do think you need a doctor's approval.
Doctors, okay.
So these have nothing, that's not going to change anything to do with the selling of medical
this is
marijuana.
just location.
This is just where you can place one.
Just where you can place one.
For, again, and the big thing is for existing adult use establishments.
Yeah.
Anybody coming in who wants a new adult use establishment or a new medical marijuana would have to go through all the processes that all the other ones went through and get the special permits needed.
Gotcha.
But the 6 that we have already permitted would fall under these guidelines and be allowed to sell medical.
Well, thank you for that clarification. I just like things being more equitable. I don't like for organizations to have a monopoly, especially when they're wanting their money back. Sorry, I had to just throw that out there. So I'm going to support those two. But I know it's still open for the proponents, and I know there's some on there that want to speak to the number 2. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Okay, any other councilors, or can we go back to the proponents? Okay. Phil, are you completed your presentation? Thank you. Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Mr. Wilson, I think you said you want to speak in opposition, right?
I will be very brief. I have some things in favor as well. To be very quick, just for the council's notification. So co-location has been permitted by state law for several years. There's been some restrictions on it in terms of separation. The state is actually currently has bills before it to make co-location easier. So passing 1 and 3 will sort of put the city ahead of the curve, so that we're talking about really sort of smaller mom and pop shops are able to get into this a little bit easier, to have these 2 streams of revenue in terms of adult use in medical marijuana. So I said it'd be quick. I just wanted to share that with the council.
Oh, you don't have to be quick. If you have other things to speak in favor, you're welcome to. Is that, I don't mean to rush you.
That's it for now.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, is there anyone else in person wishing to speak in favor of the petition? Okay, is there anyone remotely? Okay, Ryan McCullum is a remote participant. He's raised his hand. Mr. McCullum, do you wish to speak in favor?
I do.
Okay, name and address, please.
Sure. Ryan McCullum, 12 Longmeadow Street, Longmeadow, Massachusetts.
Thank you.
So I'm here to speak in favor of Part 2, what you all have called Part 2 in your trifurcation of these 3 different issues. Ember is my client. Ember's on Boston Road. Ember has been performing extremely well since they've opened. There is a high volume of customers. And with that, there is a volume, not problem in the neighborhood, but issue in the neighborhood. And so for months, Ember has been working with Councilor Click Bruce, the law department, DPW, with Phil at planning to come up with different ways to alleviate some of the congestion in that area, because Ember is doing so well. And doing well means jobs, and it means more tax dollars as well. And so obviously you all know me. You know that we want to work with the community. We want to work with the neighborhood. So with that in mind, Councilor Click Bruce called a meeting with the neighborhood. I was there along with 3 representatives from Ember to hear from the neighborhood and about their concerns. And so coming from that, and even before that, we were trying to come up with some answers. And some of the answers involving the city that we can't just do on our own. And so that's why this amendment has come in front of you. It's bringing Springfield into agreement with state law. State law has the proximity from door to door. And so this will bring it into agreement with state law, which will hopefully, which will put a parcel that is next to our dispensary that's vacant at the moment into play for additional parking. And that additional parking should alleviate some of the congestion concerns that the neighborhoods have. And the neighbors seem pretty receptive to that. It also can talk about curb cuts, and we're working with DPW on that. We're working with Sergeant Bruno as far as traffic signs for some of the enforcement issues that have to happen there, where people might be parking where they shouldn't be parking. And so we've been working on this for months. And I apologize for not educating each and every counselor on this. I should have. And we, if folks do want to, if we do get a yes or a no, I know now that you can't put this in committee. I really plead for a yes. It's really for the neighborhood. It's not so that there could be more, dispensaries closer to schools. We're really talking about 30 feet, give or take. That's going to put a whole new lot into play if you change this to make it come in line with state law. Again, Ember is doing very, very well. I get that there's opponents. The opponents are all competitors. And I would hope you would keep that in mind as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McCullum. Councilor Whitfield wants to be heard from, but so does Councilor Curran. Do you have a question for Mr. McCullum?
More of a statement on what he said.
Councilor Whitfield.
Yeah, just kind of, and so the committee meetings, the neighborhood committee meetings, I didn't go to the first one with Ember, but I went to the second one, and he's not lying. Like, all of these concerns that he's talking about, as far as parking, as far as curb cuts, as far as putting up the signs, it's all what the neighborhood was talking about and what they asked for. Now, I understand why the opponents would not want this to take place because it frees up more parking, and they are doing extremely well. There's not a time that I don't ride down Boston Road and someone's coming in and out of Ember. that's competition. That's just the nature of doing business, right? But from what Ryan just said, I understand a little bit better how this came about because the neighborhood did ask for this like over and over and over again. And I think it's unfair because the opponents don't want this friendly competition because it's just competition that we don't appease the neighborhoods. I think that would be irresponsible. I sat through that meeting and then went to the next meeting right after it from 6 to 7 with Councilor Click Bruce. And then from 7 to 8, we went to another meeting and he was at the first one. I wasn't at the first one, but we hearing these things over and over and over again. And so just, we're not trying to, well, I don't think this amendment is trying to make it so that when new establishments open, they're closer to schools. I don't think that's what it's trying to do at all. We have to say so in that at the end of the day. We don't have to vote for that. If one is like too close to a school or something like that, we don't have to vote for it if another application comes before us that we think is too close. But for this particular instance, this is what the neighborhood said. It's what they wanted. They do need more parking. They do need another curb cut. The traffic is congested. Where the kids' bus stop is, it's like really dangerous because the traffic is crazy from people going in and out of one place. They're waiting in line because there is no parking. So they're waiting out on State Street. Like, I mean, you just have to ride by there. I was like, what is that place at first when I didn't know what it was? But I don't think this is to make businesses closer to the school. I think it is to help the neighborhood kind of get some of the items that they want. And I know Councilor Cook Bruce is here now, probably could speak to it a little bit better than me. But I just wanted to say that I was at that meeting. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Councilor Click Bruce.
Thank you, Council President. And Councilor Whitfield pretty much hit the nail on the head. And I kind of alluded to it earlier. We've been working with Ember in the neighborhood, trying to alleviate some of the issues that are going on in that neighborhood. So you know, I had to come in because I was at practice, but I wanted to make sure I came in to come in person to see this through. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Click Bruce. Councilor Curran.
Just to be clear, again, yeah, I would be opposed to this amendment because I believe we need to keep these establishments as far away from schools as possible. But my question to Mr. McCollum is, does the school, have they given you a letter in support of your amendment? I mean, where's the school's position on this?
Mr. McCollum.
We actually had the meeting inside the school, one of the meetings inside the school. We haven't heard of opposition or in favor either. You know, we've been working with, again, law department, planning board, DPW, Councilor Bruce. You know, when I say the city, that's, you know, all those different departments, police department, and they're in favor of it. They're you know, Phil was up there as the proponent. You know, this is something that, again, it's not to bring the establishment any closer, the establishment itself, the brick and mortar. If you kind of know what I'm looking at, what I'm saying is when you look on Boston Road and you're facing our establishment, to the right, there is a vacant lot because this used to be the Russell's lot. To the right, there's a vacant lot. Making that lot into more parking would help alleviate the traffic. That's all we're trying to do.
But on the school's side, did you request from the school a letter of support, and did they supply?
I did not.
How come?
I didn't think of it, Counselor, and then also I was just, I don't want to say assume, but when we were working with the city, I was hoping that the city has it all like handled. So I don't want to speak for them. I imagine maybe they probably talked to the school department. If they didn't, they didn't. But again, you know, we didn't ask the school whether they would be in favor or against it. It's a public school. Again, it's state law that we're coming into contact with, trying to be in agreement with. Also, as far as parking is concerned, you know, folks can park wherever they're going to park. So in some cities, some people park next to a school and walk over to a dispensary. I mean, technically, they could park if there's public parking, they can park anywhere near the school and come over to us. What we want to do is kind of control the customers on our site better, because what happens is the parking overflows and then they start parking wherever. And so they start parking in the neighborhood, they start moving around in the neighborhood. So, I mean, if we had more time, I could go through the school system and try to get a answer from them. But again, what we're talking about is moving the property line. I don't know if Phil knows off the top of his head, not far to have parking. So the customers aren't going to be that much closer to the school.
Just a quick comment, and again, the most affected is the school. I think a letter of support, if you believe the schools could support it, would have been appropriate to bring to the council.
I agree.
I don't think you can assume that the city council has a handle on what the school wants, because there is not a letter in support of it. My handle would be the school's not in favor of this, and
well, there's no letter against it, right? And they have a lawyer that's probably been working hard about getting as many people against it as possible. So unless they do have a letter against it and they haven't shown it yet.
As a representative of the taxpayer here, I'm against it. So I'd vote against it.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Curran. Councilor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I'm thinking about Boston Road, and we have the school right there, the church is on the corner, and then the school, and then the old Russells, which is now Ember, I believe. And then next door to that is another little lot with stores and now food trucks. So it's kind of like a food truck park. So it's very congested there, no matter what. I initially, when I heard that the cannabis dispensary was going to be there, I thought that was a terrible idea because of the traffic, because of what the already congested area right there. And I'm thinking, that is a huge parking lot. I'm sure, and I'm hoping that Ember will be able to figure out how to park their customers there with as little congestion as possible. But to put a blanket kind of ordinance saying that it's allowed, I don't want us to do that. I don't know if maybe Ember might come and ask for a special permit to be able to do that for that just one time. I would be more comfortable doing that and having that discussion than just having a blanket, okay, you can be, this close to a school, because then other establishments in the future might come and, we've established precedent now, and I don't want us to be able to do that. So,
Councilor, we did.
Mr. McCollum, Councilor Govan has the floor. Councilor
sorry,
Govan.
Okay.
sorry, Ryan. So, and I understand the position of the neighborhood. I feel the pressure from the congestion there, not just from the cannabis place again, but all the congestion there. So like I said, I'm hoping that, Amber will be able to figure something out, but for this purpose right here, I feel like, we should vote no on that school space issue. And then later on, if we need to, we can talk about possibly allowing Ember to do something. But it is a big parking lot, so parking could potentially be found elsewhere. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Councilor Govan. Councilor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. Phil, if you could indulge us to come up to the podium for a quick question. So, Phil, again, I don't want to single out any particular establishment, so I'm going to be generic with my statement. If a pre-existing location is there and they want to add parking spaces so they can handle whatever problem they might be having, do they need a variance to add that location to the property?
Not a variance, no.
Or what would they need? In other words, they buy a lot and they want to use it into parking lot. They need something. What is it they need?
Well, to me, they'd have to come back and amend their special permit to show what additional parking. I mean, in this case, the one on Boston Road, they want to use the property that's next to their.
Right. If I may, at least just me, I really want to use generic terms.
Okay.
So,
Well, yes, to me, if you wanted to expand your parking, you would have to come in and amend your special permit.
Okay, and so in your opinion, by amending your special permit, that will trigger the 500 feet
Well, yeah,
issue?
correct. Yeah, because you couldn't extend your parking because it's still part of the adult
But it says,
marijuana.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. But it says here, where the heck is it? That we're going to measure 500 feet from the door to the front
Right.
entrance.
Right.
So if this pre-existing location buys a lot, the door is not going to change, is it? All they're adding is parking spaces, right?
Well, the door isn't going to change, no, but the measurement from whether they're inside or outside the 500 feet may change.
How, if they're only measuring from the door? In other words, if this is my lot here, and I buy, please forgive me for being so rustic for a second, so that I understand it. So if this is my lot, and this is my door, and I want to buy this lot here, the door's still here.
Yeah, but your door's not on the property line. You're looking,
No, it's
that
further
piece of
back.
paper is your lot. The building's probably in the middle of that. So currently, you now measure from property line to property line. This is kind of the same example I used.
May I, Counselor, with
Yes,
your indulgence? So if you have a parcel, the property line is always going to be closer to a school than the door.
Correct.
It must be, because the door must be within the property line.
Correct.
So the current law says that the setback is from the property line. So if you buy an adjoining lot that's supporting your marijuana use, that lot, the lot lines from that lot need to be that distance. I think it's 500 feet, right, Phil?
Right.
500 feet from the school.
Correct.
And so what they're proposing to do is say, forget the lot lines, just worry about the door of the school to the door of the marijuana facility, which would enable you to buy a parking lot and not worry about the setbacks from the school, because you're only going to be worried about where the door is to where the door is. That's the proposed change. Does that make sense?
Yes, but did I just put myself into more of a pickle here? Because the proposed change, yes, it does make sense, but I just don't see how, I'm just having a hard time understanding that because they buy the parking lot, that it triggers a special permit. But let me move on for a second on that, if I may. Mr. McCollum, if I could ask you, because it was brought up, in terms of mitigating issues for the company, is he still on?
I'm right here,
Yep.
Mitigating issues with the company that you represent, sir, that you spoke of. Have you guys explored other options such as hiring traffic control or even police officers on site?
Yes. So in addition to, this idea about allowing us to expand our parking probably twofold, and that, this is the big solve. The other mitigative issues were, some traffic signs, because some folks sometimes would stop in front of our door, just like happens in the Starbucks in my town, where people stop in front of the Starbucks and run in, not in a real parking spot. So we're working with Sergeant Bruno and Counselor Click to get some traffic signs up, and we have to get the petition signed by neighbors for that. There's a tree that we had to put up that we think that some people say they can't see around the corner, that we have to talk to planning about. We're going to do a second curb cut, and we're working with DPW about that. We discussed things with other property owners around our site about using some of their spaces for employee parking to alleviate some of the spaces that are used. Come to find out, I think like 65% or 70%, I forget the number, of our employees actually take public transportation or get rides or Uber or what have you. So we really don't have many cars of our employees on the lot. This one is, again, changing it from door to door, rather than lot line to lot line. We own that lot next to us. That lot is empty. We hope to allow it to allow parking. We'd have to go door to door. We tried to do this without changing the ordinance, the marijuana use table that we're changing today, and we were told by the city we can't because this is the first step. So I know Councilor Govan was talking about maybe there's some other, special permit or something else we could do. We can't. We are bound by this buffer law or proximity law. We need that to come in line with the state proximity law so that we can then go in front of whomever we need to get a special permit for parking. So we'd have to come back to all the different departments and probably you all to approve our parking lot and our curb cuts and all of that. But this is the first step. We can't do that without this coming in line with state law. And yes, we're continuing to work on all that. We're going to continue to work with the neighborhood, continue to work with Councilor Click Bruce on all these other different solves. But this one is the one that will add so many spaces to our site so that we can alleviate the congestion and traffic.
Thank you for that, Mr. McCollum.
Oh, and we also hired security. We have security guard doing every hour doing a perimeter check and moving people along.
Mr. McCollum, I'm just going to finish with this. I hear what you're saying, but at least for me, sir, I'm really struggling. I can totally see the headlines tomorrow. City Council votes to make weed sale close to schools.
Yeah, that's the headline. I get that.
I know you understand.
I understand that the neighbors that live there are what we're concerned about.
Thank you, Councilor Dowdell.
Thank you, Mr. McCollum.
We have other councilors who have their hands raised to be heard. Before we hear from them, I just want to point out where we are. We've been at this for well over an hour. All councilors have been heard on this subject, many of you more than once. We are still in the proponents portion of the hearing, and the hearing's open. Okay, we have 34 minutes left before we hit 10 o'clock, and we haven't heard from the opponents yet. So if it's possible for councilors to hold their questions or comments until we can hear from the opponents, I think that would be prudent, because if we spend much more time here without hearing from the opponents, we're probably going to run out of time tonight. So does anybody feel like they, in that context, need to be heard now before we continue with the proponents and then turn to the opponents? Okay, thank you. All right, so the proponents, those who are here to speak in favor, we've heard from Phil. Phil, do you have anything further to add at this time? Okay. Mr. McCollum, do you have anything further to add at this time as a proponent?
Will I be able to, if people have questions for me later after the opponents go, am I able to speak, or am I closed out after this?
You will have another opportunity to speak, yes.
If somebody recognizes me. Yeah, just that we're working on this. And my last point is we're working on it. We're working with Councilor Bruce. We're working with the city. This is to alleviate issues in the neighborhood. I also don't think that anybody envisioned that Ember was going to do as well as they are doing. And that's how it got approved in the first place the way it is. They were going off of what the kind of traffic was at dispensaries at the time. And we have been doing really, really well. And so I think folks didn't envision that this would be a concern.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor at this time? Say again, anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that closes this portion of the hearing. Okay, opponents. Mr. Wilson, welcome. Can turn your microphone on, please, and we'll give you, we spent a lot of time with the proponents, so we'll give the opponents as much time as they require. Attorney Wilson, name and address, please.
Anthony Wilson, 54 Weston Street, Waltham, Massachusetts, representing the, I'll make this short, the other 5 cannabis operators in Springfield other than Ember. So we are opposed to this particular change, the second, number 2 that's being voted on. And just for some context for the council, and I apologize for being somewhat technical, but the state law that has been referred to several times is Chapter 94, G, Section 5, and that section is specifically about the licenses that the CCC will consider. And it is saying that it will not consider licenses that are from establishments that are closer than 500 feet to the to a school. So it's not saying that all establishments have to be a certain reason. It's saying it won't consider licenses here. Now, the municipalities are permitted to shorten that distance, and then the CCC will then consider those licenses, but it is no way says that you are not allowed to make that longer. It's just saying as long as you're outside of 500 feet, we will consider your license. So there's nothing from the state law that's requiring you to change it from property line to property line to door to door. So that's number one. Number two, this was a very long and involved process to get the 6 cannabis operators that we currently have in the city of Springfield. They went through an extensive process both before the city council, before entities created by the mayor to review the applications, and the CCC. Part of that process included a detailed analysis of the location, the expected traffic at the location, and a variety of other operational factors. This issue about parking is not happening at any other location, and I can guarantee to all of you, as you've seen around the city, that many of those locations are very busy, and they are dealing with the traffic and people trying to wait in their lots. This is not a location problem, this is a management problem. And the last thing that I'll leave you with on this topic is, and I won't get into the details because it's not maybe as important to you, but you can look at this as an indication of what I think is going on maybe inside of the establishment that may affect the Springfield cannabis industry in its entirety, and that by allowing this expansion, you are not going to, if the business isn't properly run, you're not going to be assisting it. You're going to be bringing those problems closer to their neighbors. And so with that, the group that I represent, it really is opposed to this change, and we hope that the council votes against it.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Wilson. We have other opponents raising their hand in the queue. Would you like, can you hold your comments? Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition this evening, in person? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Okay, remotely. See, Ms. Peyton Shubrick has raised her hand. Ms. Shubrick, would you like to please state your name and address? Thank you.
Yes, can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Wonderful. Peyton Shubrick, 1860 Main Street, Springfield, Massachusetts. Thank you all so much for the time. I do want to emphasize that as a owner-operator in the city of Springfield, I'm truly grateful for the process that we all went through, that being the RFP, which provided each of us an opportunity to think through the nuances of our businesses and progress forward with safety top of mind, especially acknowledging that we wanted this to be a positive for the city of Springfield. I would emphasize that going property line to property line was a long standard established standard that was put in place. And to make an exception for a group versus upholding the standard and enforcing compliance would truly be unfortunate. In a space where we're seeing oversupply, oversaturation, a lack of governance by the CCC, I've been always proud of the city of Springfield and the standards that we uphold, even if the state's unable to do so. And every group completed a traffic study. And I think before any decisions are made to create an exception for one group, while the rest of us are upholding a standard, a review of their traffic study could be beneficial prior to making any final decisions. Again, the idea here is that as Springfield businesses and establishments, we should be holding ourselves to a high standard so that we can make the city proud. And as an owner-operator, I pride myself on that and would hope that we're all aligned here as residents of the city of Springfield. I thank you all for the time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shubrick. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in opposition this evening? Say again, is there anyone else wishing to speak in opposition this evening, in person or remote? Okay, seeing none, that'll close this portion of the hearing. Before we turn it back over to the council for questions, which there'll be time for, we do allow for a rebuttal period. So would anyone that is a proponent like to make a rebuttal or be heard from before we turn it back over to council questions? Mr. McCollum.
Sorry, real quick. Sorry, I know you guys are running late. Allegations of how the business is being run, I don't think are entirely fair. And I also think that when businesses do well, they expand all the time. Sometimes businesses do well and they expand parking, or they get another shop. Doing well shouldn't be penalized. And what we're trying to do is work hand in hand with the neighborhood to alleviate some of the congestion and parking issues over there. So again, allegations about the business being poorly run are really unfair, and we're doing well, and the tax receipts show that. And it is unique. It is unique to the city. Ember it's unique.
Thank you, Mr. McCollum. Anyone else speaking in favor who would like to be heard during this rebuttal period? Okay. Say again, anyone wishing to speak in favor during this rebuttal period? Seeing none, that closes this portion of the hearing. Are there any opponents who would be like to be heard during the rebuttal period before we turn it back over to the council for questions? Say again, any opponents wishing to be heard. After we close this portion of the hearing, the public will no longer have the right to speak. They can only be addressed by the council if the council has a question for them. Say again, anyone wishing to speak in opposition during this rebuttal period. Okay, seeing none, that closes this portion of the hearing. Questions from councilors. Councilor Whitfield.
Thank you, President Fenton. I hear what councilors are saying, Councilor Govan, Councilor Curran. I totally understand. At the end of the day, the city council can approve or deny any new special permits that comes before us for marijuana. And I also agree with Ryan. I don't think it's mismanagement at all. I think they're doing great. But I also think if you ride up State Street during school time and people are still gonna go to this establishment because it's their right to do so, and you actually see the cars parked along the side of State Street, it's 2 lanes. So the people and the buses coming down this lane have to move over to the lane closest to the traffic line. It's congestion. It is going to be accidents. It is a school bus stop right there. So if we want to think about this logically and consider our kids, I'm not even talking about the other adults that might be flying up, don't see the traffic, merge over to the other lane, trying to get up Boston Road because maybe they got to get their kids from school or they got to do something else. I've been there. I also go to marijuana facilities, okay? And the law is you have to go in, you have to show your license, you have to show it when you get the product, you got to get the product, you got to go back out, and sometimes on the way out they ask for your license, so it's not like, oh, we expand this parking lot, now all types of illegal, the facility is doing illegal stuff in the parking lot outside. They actually are responsible because they did come. They are not, some of the owners don't live here and they came from out of town to meet with the constituents in the meeting that was in the school. The school knew about the meeting. So if the school staff had issues, I think they're also residents and they had an opportunity to come to the meeting that's in their school. They knew about this meeting. They did not show up. They have not written a letter of opposition, nor have they written a letter of being a proponent. That shows me that there's no concern. I don't know if the folks in opposition went to the school department to get a letter of disapproval, but we're putting a lot of pressure on the proponent to go and get a letter of approval. So it has to go both ways. Both sides should figure out what the school thought. We can't put one set of rules on one side and not on the other side. But I've been on State Street many a times and like, what is going on? Why am I all the way down here? Why am I caught in this traffic like that? And then when I get up there, I was like, what is right here? So they are looking to do another curb cut, looking to move the bus stop because the kids are in danger. The kids are in danger. So if you're not considering anything else, consider them because there's a bus stop right there. Some of the kids are walking. They're walkers, the Valiette, right there. You know what I mean? They're walkers. And when people are cutting across trying to get by because this traffic is backed up, they need to be able to go in and park. So if we're thinking logically about it, that's logical thinking. And I'm sorry if they're doing good. I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry, I guess. But they're doing good. They're running their strategic plan. I don't know about how it's going on the inside. I've never been inside this particular establishment, but based on the looks of it, they're doing something right because they always got a lot of people going to that establishment. If it was terrible, then people wouldn't go there. You're not going to keep going somewhere that's terrible. So I'm just saying, let's really consider who we're talking about here. This is what this particular community wants. So I want the headline to say, city councilors listen to the constituents in the neighborhood that's being affected and save some lives of some children over the city council opened up a parking lot. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Councilor Delgado.
Thank you. I've stayed pretty quiet during this whole debate, but during this time, I've been looking at every single establishment, and I guess one of the questions I have, maybe a question or a comment. It sounds like, and I actually agree with Councilor Whitfield, this to me sounds more of a bottleneck issue and a curb cut issue than anything else. When you look at this particular establishment, they are emptying onto a side road that is, I don't even know distance, probably less than 100 feet from the traffic light. You've got a residential area, and it just looks like a bottleneck, and it sounds like to me them being able to open up this curb cut will create a better flow in and out of this facility. And I've looked at many of the establishments, the other establishments, and many of them have multiple curb cuts. This seems to be the only one that has one curb cut. Can anybody explain if there's any other establishment that has one curb cut entrance in and out of the establishment?
Phil, can you try to answer that, please?
I'd probably say Six Bricks. I think they have a curb cut off of Main Street. I don't know if they have a curb cut on the side street over there.
There's an entrance to that parking lot, though, right, from the side street.
Well, but I'm not sure it gets to their parking lot, but I'm not 100% sure. I know the main entrance is off of Main. There may be a secondary curb cut over there.
I mean, I'm looking at the aerial map of Six Bricks. You have the curb cut on Main Street, and you have a curb cut on Emery Street, and there doesn't look like there's any impediment to get from. So I guess my thing is, I hear everybody's what they're saying about the 500 feet, and I, for one, don't want to make it less. But this to me sounds more of an issue of a traffic flow, and to, Councilor Whitfield's point, into what I believe I heard Councilor LeVar Bruce mention when he went to the meetings, is it's really about listening to the residents and listening to making sure the traffic flow is, and most of these establishments empty out into main roads, Page Boulevard, Main Street, Boston Road, Columbus Avenue. This is the only one that I can see so far that empties out into a side street that is literally pinched between a traffic light and a residential area. So to me, I don't see an issue with this one in particular. And I know, again, we're voting on this. I hate to use, Councilor Govan's point, to give everybody a vote for everybody. But at the end of the day, if we're trying to make this better for the residents, and we deal with a lot of developments where folks are complaining about traffic and cars coming in and out and the congestion. And right now we have a situation with one that has that same issue. And right now we're saying no because we're afraid of a headline or of a 500 feet. So to me, I don't see an issue unless, again, there's a way to do a variance, which I don't know if that's what I missed Councilor Davila's point. But if that's the case, then I'd love to look into that variance for this particular spot so that they can do something and relieve that congestion. So,
thank you, Councilor Delgado. Councilor Brown.
Yes, just to explain it a little better, with the way it basically is, okay? If they're 500 square feet, say there's 1,500 square feet from right now, based on what it is, 1,500 square feet from where the weed spot is to the school. they don't have to honor that. That's how far they are. They got to go 500 to 500. Say the school was say the weed spot was here, and they can move it 1,000 square feet closer. And then just say if I want to buy, say if I bought that gas station right next to it, right? There's a gas station right next to it, and then there's a parking lot, then there's a school. What if I, as a weed entity, buy that land? Based on this, if we change it, now I can take that land and make it a parking lot. Couldn't I? Yes. So I can just keep buying and just park there. And one thing I do want to emphasize, they had the opportunity to design this stuff. And one thing I would just, I love the work my colleagues do. I always emphasize that my colleagues, some of them are teachers, some of them are coaches, some of them their full-time job isn't constituent service. Fortunately, my full-time job on the state level is constituent service. If you look at the actual office local number, it's my personal cell phone. So my kids went to Balliet. So I'm very entrenched. I'm always over there. So yes, maybe 10, 15, 20 people, I even give you that, might have said they wanted it. But I know hundreds who said they don't. Those are the calls I get. Maybe why other people, and with all due respect, I understand other people, when their job calls them during their 9 to 5, they're doing their 9 to 5. We got a part-time job. My full-time job is to answer that phone, and I've got numerous complaints from people over there. So to sit there and to say the community supports it, not the ones that I talk to. I know a lot of them who don't. And I can stand firm on that. They don't like, they're having issues over there. That's why they're actually, so when you're talking about even the design of the parking lot, they had an opportunity to do that stuff. I believe, didn't they have an opportunity to do that? So what it would, once again, what is very dangerous is when you change that law, what it enables them to do is, say that gas station next door don't do well, they can buy that and build parking lots. Right? Am I right? So let's just think the landscape has changed with Mass Mutual. We got Stick buying up everything. If that gas station fails and that parking lot neck behind it, right adjacent, so right across the street from the school, couldn't they just buy it? Couldn't they buy it and put parking lots there? As long as they don't move their location, couldn't they just buy the
Theoretically, yeah.
And make parking lots, make parking spaces right there, right?
Yeah, because the door hasn't moved.
Exactly. So I really don't, it really is a horrible idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, and I'll be quick because it's almost 10 o'clock. Why are we talking about parking lots? We should be talking about safety. And the responsibility of the city council is to make a decision that benefits the entire city, not just one area. And the distance for a school is something that impacts the whole community. I'm sympathetic to that other business, but I think we have a responsibility to the whole city. And I think Peyton Schubrook made a great argument that to do it for one entity and not all the existing ones would be a mistake. Please call the question.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Walsh. We cannot entertain motions to call the question because the hearing is still open. Councilor
Close the
Govan.
hearing.
Can I make a motion to close the hearing?
You can make a motion to close the hearing. There's a motion to close the hearing so that the council would no longer be deliberating. Before we deliberate on that, I want to make sure the council knows that after that, we would proceed to voting on the 3 items.
Second.
If there was going to be a motion to continue this, and we did it after the hearing was closed, you would not be able to take any public testimony at a future meeting.
Second.
Okay. So the motion is made by Councilor Govan to close the public hearing, seconded by Councilor Edwards. Councilor Whitfield on the motion.
Yes, on the motion. He's getting calls, but we were actually there. And we make decisions all the time about neighborhoods. We're not going to pretend that we don't. When Councilor Govan comes up with something for Ward 8, that she specifically speaks about Ward 8, even as far as the fire station and other things, and we make a decision. When you come to us about Ward 2, and it's specific to Ward 2, we make decisions about Ward 2. When Tim Allen comes to us about Ward 7, and there's a decision about Ward 7, we make decisions about Ward 7. So we can't sit here and pretend that we don't. I think it would be more beneficial to continue this so we could hear more information from the residents, maybe get them in the room. Just because we can't continue this and send it to committee doesn't mean we can't have a committee meeting. We can still have a committee meeting and talk about, right?
You can't have a committee meeting and talk about the subject of this
Oh,
hearing.
because there's a hearing.
Yeah, you cannot.
Yeah. Can we have a community meeting? Because we've been having community meetings.
Not with a quorum of the council present.
Not with a quorum present. Okay, well, we all can't go. No, I'm just okay. But.
Okay, so Councilor Whitfield has the floor.
Okay.
There's a motion to close the hearing.
Close the hearing.
If you're talking about a motion to continue, the time really to entertain a motion to continue would be before a motion to close the public hearing. Because if we close the public hearing, and then the next motion is yours to continue, at that future date, we would not be able to take any future testimony. The hearing would be closed, and the council would need to act within 90 days of that closing the hearing, or the applications would be deemed approved.
The only reason I say it, Mr. President, is because it's really unfair to say how well a business is going to do, right, when the process just started. Like I was on that committee when some councilors weren't even here yet, and they were doing traffic studies to the best of their ability based on other businesses around them. And Russell's didn't do as well as this particular marijuana facility is doing. They did not know they were going to do this well in that location. So I think it's unfair to punish them, because that's what it feels like, because they're doing well. And I would really prefer to just have more discussion about it, and then maybe they can come to the next hearings meeting, and we can hear from the proponents, and we can also invite more residents to come, because they're actually working with the residents. We're not making this up. We were there. And if you weren't, you don't know what was said. But all the things that the residents of the community asked for that day, they are working to do it. They're not just trying to change this rule just because they want to slide by or be slick. This is what the community was asking for. And maybe if we do continue it, we could get more residents here to talk about how this relationship is developing.
Okay.
So I'm not going to support this motion and to close the hearing in case other people like myself want to make a motion to continue. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. President.
So there is still a motion on the floor made by Councilor Govan, seconded, was it by Councilor Edwards? Okay. Any other discussion on the motion before we vote on the motion? Councilor Allen.
I just want to say that I agree with Councilor Whitfield. Kind of what I said 2 hours ago. There's just too much tonight to make decisions tonight, in my mind. A lot of people should be in the discussion that aren't here. So that's my point.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Councilor Click-Bruce.
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, I just want to, I'm gonna be short. So we posted we had actually 2 meetings. So we posted the meeting for councilors to attend, to hear what the residents what their concerns were. We heard them loud and clear with some of their concerns. And again, I'm just gonna say vote how you wanna vote. I was there, I know what was said, and I do get calls as well. Yeah, I do have a full-time job, but I also find a way to make my way to make sure I'm hearing from the constituents as well. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Councilor Click Bruce. Okay. Any other comments or questions on the motion? Motion is to close the public hearing. If this motion passes, council will not be able to communicate or accept additional testimony from the public on this matter. Councilor Govan, on your motion.
I call the question.
Okay. Motion to call the question. Does the motion to call the question have a second? Seconded by Councilor Brown. Okay, so that will halt debate. If the motion to call the question passes by 2/3, then we'll proceed immediately on the motion to close the hearing. Madam Clerk, please call the motion.
On the motion to call the question, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Allen.
No.
No. Councilor Govan. Yes. Yes. Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Whitfield.
No.
No. Councilor Delgado.
No.
No. Councilor Santinello. Councilor Santinello. Absent. Councilor Click Bruce. No. Councilor Perez. Absent. Councilor Fenton.
No. It's less than sufficient. Motion fails. Okay. Open to debate on the motion to close the public hearing, which has been made by Councilor Govan and seconded by Councilor Edwards. That is still on the floor. Any comments on the motion to move the motion to close the public hearing?
That's what I thought.
Okay. Seeing none, Councilor Allen.
Well, I would just say that we talk about, I know there's a lot of progress from where I was 2 hours ago, but there's not enough progress to vote, I don't think, when so many people who are affected by this aren't here. And we got Anthony Wilson and we got Ryan McCollum. Ryan was one of the people texting me. There was another person texting me. You know, I just feel like we always talk about making sure we hear the community and stuff. We're going to vote for this one way or the other, and people are going to be confused immediately. It's not clear. And it might be clear to some of you, but it's not clear. It's still not totally clear to me. And I'm trying. I've been listening for 2 hours on it. I don't see what the point is of trying to rush it to a vote tonight when we could simply continue it to sometime in January. You'd have the two new counselors in it. They could catch up by listening to the video of this or whatever. And you know, it just seems like the better thing to do when there's no real advantage that I can think of to vote for this tonight. We should vote for it when all parties have been heard. And, you know, we just got 5 votes for calling the question. I'm not sure there wouldn't have been a couple more votes if Brian was at his, you know, had been there, and, you know, I don't know who else didn't vote. But it's just, I think people have been stuck in the thing of wanting to get to a vote, and I think you should be stuck in the thing of wanting to get everybody heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Okay, any more comments on the motion to close the hearing? Okay, seeing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion to close the public hearing.
On the motion to close the hearing, Councilor Kern.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Allen.
No.
No. Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Whitfield.
No.
No. Councilor Delgado.
No.
No. Councilor Santinello. Away. Councilor Click Bruce. Yes. Yes. Councilor Perez absent. Councilor Fenton.
No. More than sufficient. The public hearing is closed. Okay, councilors. So that was 7 votes, right, Madam Clerk?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So public hearing's closed. It's just about 10 o'clock. We've got 3 votes to conduct here. When we hit 10 o'clock, if any count, the rule says no meeting of the city council shall go beyond 10 p.m. unless all members present unanimously agree. If any member present objects to going beyond 10 o'clock, all items shall be continued to the next meeting. Okay? So we've got 2 minutes, and we can spend them talking, or we can go to the vote. Councilor Davila.
I was actually going to make a motion to extend the meeting 5 minutes so we can get through it.
You could. Okay, so.
Then we're going to have to like call it 9 because it's almost 10.
So if the council, wait a minute. If the council does not unanimously agree, then we would have to continue the vote on those 3 matters to the next meeting. Okay, so if there are any councilors who'd like to be heard before we proceed to vote on the 3 matters, we can hear from them now. Any councilors who'd like to be heard? Councilor Whitfield? So the public hearing has been closed. We took a vote previously to bifurcate this into 3 separate votes. Those votes would need to be taken next in succession, and the council can deliberate now if it would like further, but without public testimony or additional comment from the public. At 10 o'clock, if the council does not unanimously agree to continue discussion tonight, if any one member objects, then we would have to continue the vote on those 3 items to the next regular meeting. Okay, Councilor Whitfield has pointed out that it is now 10 o'clock. So the rule states that meeting's not going to go past 10 unless all members unanimously agree. Does anybody object to the meeting continuing beyond 10 o'clock? Okay, Councilor Whitfield has objected. So this matter, although the hearing has been closed, will be continued. The rule says it'll be continued to our next regular meeting, which is 7 days from today. So this will appear on our agenda for December 15th, right, Madam Clerk? December 15th. Any more business, Madam Clerk?
There is none.
Councilor Walsh, would you turn your microphone on, please, for your point of order?
Yes. So when we do vote on it, there is no public testimony.
There can be no more public testimony. The hearing has been closed.
This is before us, it is only the council that can make comments and vote.
That is correct. That is correct.
So even if people come down, they will not be able to speak.
That is correct, based on the motion that was made earlier. Correct. Okay. Any more business, Madam Clerk?
There is none.
Okay. Seeing none, council will stand adjourned. Council will reconvene a week from tonight, Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. Thank you and good night.